Hello and welcome to the Artist Lounge podcast. So I'm back. I was away for a week. I was very sick and I'm much better, but I do have hay fever, so I apologize if I'm still sniffly. But our regular friend is not here this week. I believe Mike is on his way to the Grand Canyon because he felt like it, so that sounds like fun. Instead, we have a mysterious guest with us. This guest,
and welcome to the
Artist I can hear myself.
So I'm back. I was away for a week.
Oh no.
That was Mike's computer. I blame him.
So Mike has managed to break the podcast already, and he's not even here. He's like in another state or something. He's like driving off into the sunset, laughing as he knows that he's left that for us. So you may have noticed a little name pop up. We have the wonderful Tim, who is with us every week, passing artwork, but this time is here to chat about arty things and stuffs and wonderful stuffs today. I'm not seeing any messages in chat, so if you are there, do drop a message so I know that you're there, because I can't tell. Hopefully we are live. I'll put a message in Artist Lounge. We are live, yay!
So, unbeknownst to you, I made it so no one shows up today.
Oh no.
So I will continue to be mysterious.
No one will ever know.
Yeah, remember that time when you did that podcast, but no one was there?
Oh, yeah, there we go. There's people. Hello, Alison. I put another link in the podcast thread. Oh, yeah, I should do the thing that I do every week. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting so distracted. So feel free to chat there in the little description thingy thing, chatty thing, if you're live. And if you want to post links to your artwork, if you're new and you don't know, please go over to the Artist Lounge subreddit, because you can't post links on YouTube. So go to reddit.com/r/artist lounge, and you'll see like a thing that's got the same name as the Artist Lounge podcast, 8th of June. So you can just put your stuff in there and we'll show it on screen. So how is everyone? How are you? How are you, Tim?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
Kind of excited, kind of nervous.
Yeah.
Not really. I don't know.
Oh my God. What's wrong with me today? Like, I'm not even thinking. I need to say who we're drawing. So we are drawing Dancing Moon Jellies, and that's an underscore between each of the words, which I believe is about number 10 on new, and the title is just Draw Me. So that's who we'll be drawing. I put a link in the Artist Lounge podcast thread as well, so everyone can find that. And Demand Man's probably already done, so we might as well leave. Hello, Sam. Hello, Demand Man. Everyone's rolling in. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah.
So we were just chatting, and then I was like, I like cut you up. So I was like, let's get live. Continue chatting. So you used to live in the UK, right?
Yeah, just for a short amount of time, just half a year.
That's pretty cool. Where did you stay?
Yeah. I was living in Nottingham, of all places, in the East Midlands. Fun times.
I've been to Nottingham once. I went to GemuCon there. That was great fun. We just like the Nottingham itself. Did you stay in the city?
Well, yeah, I was in the city, not too far from downtown, or downtown. They don't even call it that, but not too far from the city center.
Nice. I only went out at night because we had to like run, because you've been to conventions, you have to like run in the morning to the show and then you run in home at night. And it was like just walking across like dead silence in Nottingham. It was like, what is this?
Yeah, it's I used to go for a lot of walks late at night. My computer is being all funky. No, I used to go for walks quite a bit at night, and it's not the, I don't know, it's kind of creepy. It's kind of creepy there.
It is, yeah. There is. I think it's how not gothic, but like you can see that archaicness in the buildings here.
Yeah.
And it's just like, ooh, oppressiveness.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of my favorite things, like in the UK, is our evenings and our like early nights, walking around with the stars out. Unless if you're in London, in which case all you can see is cars.
Yeah.
So you've been to conventions. So the last time I was here, I was talking about MCM, and you have San Diego stories, I hear.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I grew up in San Diego, and we have the San Diego International Comic-Con, which is the biggest comic book convention in the world.
Oh yeah, it's epic.
And I've been going there pretty much, with the exception of the past few years, every year since about 1996. So when I was a kid, I used to go all the time. I mean, if there's anyone in the comic book world, I've probably met them, all the idols, numerous times. It's just, I don't know, it's a really fun experience. It got to a point a few years ago where it became more about movies and big blockbuster things.
Yeah.
And that kind of like steered me away. And also I moved out of San Diego up to San Francisco at the time.
That would steer you away.
Yeah, so, but then San Francisco also, we used to have a WonderCon, which now moved down to Los Angeles. And then the Alternative Press Expo, which was in Comic-Con as well. So what that is basically, I would imagine, a lot like how the Artist Village is, where it's everyone who's self-published or small publishing companies. And
so indie press, that lot.
Yeah, it's all the independent press, and they had their own section in Comic-Con, and every year when the bigger, all of like the larger things like Marvel and whatnot would come in, or the movie studios would come in, their space got smaller and smaller.
Oh, really?
So they started a completely new convention that was just theirs. So it's Alternative Press Expo, or APE as it's called. And that used to be in San Francisco at our Concourse Center, which is a smaller convention center.
Okay.
And that was my favorite part of Comic-Con whenever I would go. I loved the alternative press. I loved the small comic runs. I love people doing their own thing, as opposed to the larger companies, which I still like.
Yeah,
but there's just something
it's different, isn't it?
Yeah. Something great about, someone who's following their dream and just doing what it is that they want to do. And yeah, they might not have the whole world of finances behind them, but they're doing it anyways.
Yeah.
And that is huge. And I have so much respect for that. You do that as well. So
we have a similar show here, actually. We actually had, it depends on the show that you see, or the company that runs the shows, that you see that kind of decline or increase in indie press. I think MCM and the MCM team have been really good about making sure that indie people get as much, not as much rooms as they can, but we have a set place out in the show, and that has always gotten bigger, which is really amazing. Whereas other shows, you've seen it decrease, and it's been, unless you're working for Marvel or DC, you don't matter.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to have those shows where they push it. But we actually had the same thing happen where there's a show called Thought Bubble here, and that's basically the indie show that you were talking about, the alternative press, and it's literally just all of us guys at the show. I didn't get in this year, single tier. But yeah, it's a whole bunch of people, Matt, who was on the show a few weeks back, Matt Dyson. Yeah. He's one of the regular eyes there, and all of that lot, the proper indies that I kind of think of them as. they all go to that show. So those shows are really cool. I want to make it to this one. It's in Leeds if anyone is interested in going. I'm not sure which month, but just look up Thought Bubble's website. But yeah, they're really special. Demon Man's asking which picture we're drawing. I'm gonna copy the link to you, Demon Man, to you in the Art Sound podcast. Blah blah blah. Where is it? Why won't it let me reply to you? It says replied. I'm like, well, brilliant, but I want to reply again. Here's the picture. Smiley face. Send. There you go. So I've sent that in Artist Lounge podcast Reddit thread. Yeah. I'm doing a lot of double letters today. I apologize. I'm kind of hyper. So I'm gonna jump my screen over and then we'll carry on talking. So if I do screen share, screen 1, and this is the part where we compete with everyone. So we try to beat everyone and draw it. No, I'm kidding.
Done. Yeah, I didn't tell you guys, but I did this drawing 4 hours ago. And, I'm finished now.
I kind of hope that Mike is watching. Somewhere along the road, somehow he's managed to get some Wi-Fi or something, and he's watching.
Yeah, I saw him
so that he can see your little icon.
I saw him pop up in G-Chat just before we started, but then he disappeared.
Oh,
so
it's possible.
Yeah.
So I've been working on a pretty cool project this week. So
do tell.
Usually at conventions, like that's where I get most of my commissions from, or it's people several weeks or months later and they're like, hey, I saw you at Comic-Con, blah blah blah. And usually those commissions are, hey, can you draw me in my cosplay outfit? Or hey, can you it's just like random members of the public with these cool fantastical ideas they've got. I did a really cool one a little while back, which was someone in their Destiny armor on like another planet and stuff, but that tends to be what I'm asked to do. But this MCM has been a little different, and I don't know why. I can't figure out why the commissions I'm getting requested for have changed so much. But I've had several requests to illustrate full books from like company type people, so like business type people. And it's interesting to see the differences between working for like quote the public and quote businesses. Have you ever had to, like, what kind of people have you worked for, or do you work for, or do you just work for yourself?
Oh, that's so I work for myself.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily work on art as a career. I started to after, like, I went to school. I studied painting and drawing and photography. I grew up with comic books, and I became an illustrator, a freelance illustrator, right out of college.
Nice. That's hard work.
It was really hard, and this is just at like the dawn of the internet as we know it.
Oh, wow.
Not the internet like
you existed before the internet.
But no, I mean, as far as how social media, the internet existed before that. Like I used it, in high school and all that, and in college, but just right at the end of college, it was just before things started becoming very much social media based.
Yeah.
So therefore, what you can use now with the internet as a tool, you can get your work out there. You can get jobs, commissions, everything so much easier.
Oh yeah.
Than when that wasn't really an option. We still use the internet, but we didn't know how to use it then.
I can't even imagine trying to be a freelancer without the internet, like in its current form.
It was incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
I remember it was kind of amazing because the very first job I got right out of college, I don't know, it was connections through professors and through friends of other professors. And I got a few jobs the very first month, and I ended up making $4,000 that month, which is the most money I've ever made in 1 month's time.
That's insane.
Even to this day. and I thought to myself, this is going to be amazing.
This is what the rest of my life will be like.
But then the next month I made like $200, and then the next month 60, and then nothing for 2 months, and then like $400. And then you start to realize that it's not a stable income.
Yeah.
And you really kind of have to plan things. And it's a really hard thing to do, especially when I just expected to get work and didn't know how to find it.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I guess with the internet the way it is now, it's so much easier, but I don't pursue it. And the reasons I don't, I mean, they might be, I don't know, it's me just in my head. But I even, after a while, I started doing art shows and showing, and I sold a bunch of drawings, and I did really well for a little while. But it didn't feel right. I was trying to go the fine art way and not the way that I really wanted to. And so I just kind of stopped. Maybe that was the best thing. Maybe that was the worst thing. I haven't quite figured that out yet. But
I think art's a journey. Oh, that sounds like such a Mike thing to say. Art's a journey. You find your way. Like, there's a few times where I've been like, oh my God, I've done the worst mistake ever. And then it's like, turn around being like, right, well, what would be the good thing to do? Interestingly, you said it's not a stable income. I think that was something I didn't expect. When I was like a little kid dreaming of being an artist, I did not expect to suddenly turn around and be like, I don't know if I'll get paid this month. Like, that was so weird.
It's not something that I expected either.
Yeah. You think that like you work for a company or you work for like a group of people continuously, and then you get paid, and then it's like, yay, well done, brilliant. And then it's like, that's not how the real world works.
No, not at all.
Interestingly, off of that point, like going back to the businesses thing, that's one of the biggest differences I've seen. Like, they don't tend, from what I've seen, to care that much about the money. So they'll be like, well, I'll pay you for the year-long project or whatever it is in like monthly installments. That's fine. I don't care. Just make it quick.
That actually kind of sounds nice.
Yeah, it's stressful because you've got these very tight deadlines that you have to stick to.
Yeah.
But it does take that pressure off that when you're working for the public, it's very much you're trying to convince everyone else that you're good enough to create artwork for them. Whereas when you're working for businesses, it feels more like they're looking for a service. You can provide that service, just do it quick. If that makes sense.
It does. I mean, it's like if you have a job and everyone goes to work, and you're given assignments on what you're supposed to do at work, and as long as you do that, you're getting paid.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to get paid if you just show up to work and do your job.
Exactly.
It's really difficult to get paid if every single time you go to work, you have to apply for that job.
Yes.
Every single day.
Yeah, that describes it perfectly, actually. That is exactly what it's like.
And I hate looking for new jobs. Like, if you had to apply for a new job every single day. Like,
and then once you get the jobs, then you work in invoices. Don't work in invoices. Run.
Oh.
Just like jump off a cliff and fly away.
Yeah, I just would
It's
rather...
not too bad. It's like I think the uncertainty and the fact that especially if you have responsibilities or you're moving towards having responsibilities that mean that you can't have an income, like even if it's just I need to pay rent, that's a responsibility.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh God. And you're like, well, I've sent that person a 30-day invoice, but that means they have 30 days to not pay me and they can pay me on the last one.
Oh, that's always the worst. It's because you expect to just get paid. Like if any normal job pays you at a certain day, sometimes twice a month, sometimes once a month, but you get there's a payday and you get paid. Whereas with invoices, it's like basically the invoice lasts however long the term is, and they can pay you day one or at the very last day.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have to go and try to collect money from people. If your job doesn't pay you, like, I don't really know what's the consequence if your job doesn't pay you. But they do. They just do. It's something that every month they have a thing. They do their payroll and you get paid. It's just how it works.
I'm having a fight with this arm, actually.
Yeah, it's really hard to draw and talk at the same time.
Oh, dude, welcome to our world.
I knew this was going to be an issue. I'm usually just like sit here and draw in silence by myself and just listen. It's so much easier to listen.
That's why everyone's so much quicker than us. It's like, oh, how am I supposed to be that quick? I've managed to get the guidelines in, though. I'm happy about that. But I think the hand is going to be a struggle to do whilst talking.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. I'm also not used to this thing. Yes,
you've got a new layout. So do you not usually work with it raised up then?
No, see, so I have this. This is a 3-ring binder. And what I usually do is I take this and I put it on my lap. And so I can tilt it in any way that I need to. And I just sit on the couch in the living room and I draw.
Dude, you want to know the secret? You want to know the secret? That's what we all do.
Yeah, and it's great. And now I'm sitting on a stool that has no back and I'm hunched over a table and I'm drawing on this thing that doesn't move and I can't move with it. And it's just really
You've got a camera in your face.
Camera in my face. There's lights, there's shadows, and it's really warm in here. I don't know how Mike does this.
He has wine. That's how he does it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have water, so I'm not quite the Jesus that Mike is.
No, you haven't transformed it yet. So I do a stream before this show. It's at 8 p.m. my time, so it's quite a few hours before this show.
Much more manageable.
Yeah, it's a normal time. Although I'm always late for that stream and not this one, because I'm always like finishing up my dinner and I'm like, just everyone hold up, I just need to eat. But I was doing a cool little thing on there. Like, I like to come up with games to practice. I just think it makes it more fun, and I'll give myself like a random obscure challenge to have to do. And the one that I was doing today is, I call it the alphabet challenge. Okay, so the idea is you have to use the shape of a letter, so for example A, and turn it into a character. So I was like using the silhouette of the A and then transforming it into this like weird little creature, and I got all the way up to I. And people in chat were like giving me adjectives and stuff to add onto it. So like they had to always begin with the letter that I was using. So someone said Icarus. So I did this like flying eye creature. But that was good fun. I was wondering, do you ever come up with funny little games or techniques or anything? Or what's your best like practicing techniques?
Oh, it's not so much practicing techniques, but games. So there's this game that my friends and I used to play all the time when we were younger, and even like as we were older. So we'd call them battles. So essentially, you have maybe like, you can do it with 2 people, you can do it with 10 people or however many, and each person just goes and draws something on their own entirely. Usually we put a piece of paper into grids, and you just do like a little grid, and each round is just like a little corner or a little drawing, and everyone just draws something. It doesn't matter what it is. They're all entirely different. But you, after maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, you all come together and you show everyone the drawings. And basically they're a battle. So whichever one is the most absurd or ridiculous or just weird and quirky is the winner. And
Okay.
for something that sounds like, there's not a definitive like what's better or what's not, you would think there'd be a lot of arguments, but it was always unanimous every single time of who the winner was. Even the person who was battling against would just be like, yeah, you won. Like,
It's kind of like reminds me of essentially like Cards Against Humanity. Like, you know who the winner is.
yeah. I've never played Cards Against Humanity, so I don't know the rules of that.
Do you know about Cards Against Humanity?
I vaguely know about it.
Dude, if I ever come over there and visit you guys, we are playing Cards Against Humanity. It is amazing.
Deal. And the same thing if we go over there. I'm sure it's gonna be a lot of fun. we definitely have to go for some sort of Comic-Con. Mike's already mentioned that. So
Definitely.
MCM, I'm totally down for any sort of comic book convention.
Do you have a favorite? It must be San Diego, or I guess it's the.
My favorite is actually the Alternative Press Expo. It's APE. This year it's not in San Francisco. It's in San Jose, which is 45 minutes to an hour south.
Okay.
Well worth the drive. At least in my book it is. I'm convincing Mike to go with me because, you've been talking about MCM and comic book conventions, and he's like, oh, I've never been to one. It's like, you have to go. Come on.
Oh, they're brilliant.
So
You guys should get a stall at one. That'd be amazing. Oh, my brother's in chat. Hello, David.
hello, David.
He says, I draw resting on old art books instead of reading them and learning to draw.
That's the best way to use art books.
I actually do exactly the same thing because art books are always like the weightiest but also the biggest books. It's like they're like a proper books.
You can fit whatever paper you need to put down. I mean, a little paperback or hardcover novel isn't going to cut it.
Yeah. So I have this one book which I've never read, and it's like a history of art but for kids. I've never read it, but it is I'm going to sit on this and draw with it. Alison says, Cards Against Humanity is such a good game if you're not easily offended.
It's so hard to read the chat at the same time as this. How do you guys do this?
Because clearly I'm fantastic.
Also, it's like 2:00 in the morning. Your brother is also awake?
See, we're a strange family.
I would imagine like you have to stay up and everyone's like, oh, Sarah is just crazy staying up till odd hours in the morning doing her podcast thingies. But nope, you got your for little sibling here who's sticking with you.
It's not for me.
I'm sure it is.
No, it'll be he's at uni at the moment. So he's probably got something to study or something, and he just can't be bothered. So he's on here. No, I'm kidding. He's really good for this study. But he says, I don't have a life either. Or I think
earlier.
I think it's supposed to be 8.
Well.
No, the thing is, this is like normal for us because I used to play online games all the time, and the people who I talked to were always Americans because there was no one ever on the English European side, and if they were, they spoke French, so I was like, never mind. So I'd just stay up all night talking to Americans, and now that's my job.
And is that most likely also the reason why someone mentioned at MCM that you asked if you were American?
That's really weirding me out. Like, several people have asked me if I'm American now. It's really strange.
Yeah, you don't have an American accent.
No, I don't think so. David says, I've had a crazy week getting my final report done. Now my time's screwed up too. Gutted.
I remember college and not ever sleeping. I once stayed awake for so long that I hallucinated, and not like hallucinate, but like I was so out of it and so sleep deprived that I was like visually seeing things, and I had to turn in a paper that I was working on, and I got in my car to like drive to the school and drop this paper off, and I put the key in the ignition, and in my head I was just like, I don't know how to drive a car.
What?
And so I got out and I went into the house and I asked my dad, I was like, Dad, can you get me a ride to school? Because I have no idea how cars work.
That's insane. I had the opposite. Like, I didn't go to college, but I went to college here, which is not what you guys call college. We call college uni.
Yeah.
And I had the opposite problem. I was standing in class, and someone walked into the class, like it was a teacher from another class, and he handed me a piece of paper. He's like, "Oh, you don't have a class later; it's been cancelled," and handed me this piece of paper, which basically is supposed to be an explanation of why. And the person to my right, who was a friend of mine, he basically went to give me a high five. I literally did not see him give me a high five, and also couldn't see any text on the paper. And I was just like, does this actually say anything? And they were like, are you okay? So just never mind, pretend it didn't happen. It's fine.
Yeah, it's weird when stuff like that happens because you have no idea why.
Have you ever stayed up really late working on an art project?
All the time. Because you get in that zone, and if you're in the zone, you can't really stop.
That is absolutely true.
Like a few years ago, I mean, I haven't done any shows for quite a while. But a few years ago, I was in a 3-person show, and I had like 15 drawings that I was working on. And this is just right when I got back. So I was living in the UK, and then I got this show in San Francisco. And instead of working on it in the UK, I just figured like, I'll just wait till I get back. And I got back a month before the show. And so I wasn't working at the time. And so I just decided to draw every day from the moment I woke up until I went to bed. And I would literally wake up at like 5 or 6 in the morning, go into the studio that I had at the time, and just draw until anytime around maybe midnight to 2 a.m. and then sleep for a few hours and then do it all over again.
Dude.
For a solid month. I got a lot of good drawings out of it, though. That's
ridiculous. I've only done that one day. I wouldn't be able to do that for a month. That's ridiculous. I don't think I could create anything that would be usable.
Yeah, well, a lot of the drawings that I was working on too, they were really detailed and they kind of just took forever. So I'd be working on them for at least 2 or 3 days straight.
Do you find when you're working on something that's like really detailed that your brain just like shuts down?
Absolutely.
I'll just sit there and I'll like hours will go by and I'm just like drawing dots on something and it's like, what have I done with my life?
Yeah, it's just and also too, like I used to listen to podcasts and it just feels like you're listening to someone else talking but not really having to pay attention.
Yeah.
And then time would just go by. like 3-hour podcasts felt like they were 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I always have podcasts on when I work. I find it really helps because I'm sat at home on my own all day, and it's just like it helps in both ways because it helps make time feel like it's going faster, and it helps because it makes it feel like there's people around you, like that they're just like walking around chatting to each other, and it's like it just makes it, I don't know, feel nicer.
Yeah, like I know a lot of people like listening to music while working. I can't do it so much. I'd much rather would have people talking than being listening to music. Because I think music also, it kind of pulls you, it pulls you into one kind of emotion depending on what you're listening to, and that may change your line quality. That may change like the feeling of your drawing. Yeah. It's a lot about that goes into it. So I try to avoid listening to music while I draw.
I find that if I'm writing, I listen to music, and if I'm drawing, I listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
So if I'm working on like a scene in the book or something, and it's like a really tense scene, I'll put on like epic Skyrim music or something, or like, and it'll really help me to get into how I should plot out the scene. But if I'm drawing, then I just want something kind of mindless, jokey that's going on.
Yeah. That's kind of the best kind of podcasts, the ones you, aside from this one, of course, where it's just basically like a lot of comedy or humor or something.
Yeah.
Especially when you're working on other things, because you don't have, I mean, you pay attention, of course, but you don't have to be involved.
You can dip in and out of it, can't you?
Yeah. There's no whole like deep thoughts where it's like, oh, that's very interesting. Ah, yes. Oh, I have those same feelings as well. It's kind of like, they're just fun.
I have the opposite when I watch the Rooster Teeth podcast, and I'm just sat there like, oh, all the science you're saying is wrong.
I don't know that podcast.
What? You don't know Rooster Teeth?
No.
What? You're from a whole nother world. Like, I don't even know who you are anymore.
What?
So, you must... I'm guessing you don't watch any gamers on YouTube.
No. I'm not a big... Well, I used to have a video game addiction, and so I don't play them anymore.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Oh, you have a text.
Yeah, I do.
My brother says, podcasts, all the best of conversations without having to put any of the effort in.
So, okay, first off, don't laugh at me for this because how do you explain? I'm not very, when it comes to buying new technology, I try to avoid new technology. So I have a phone that is an old Samsung flip phone from 2006. It is almost 10 years old, but a friend of mine actually just sent me an image. Yes, it has a camera and can get images. And I don't know if I could actually share this as far as like, I can't email it or anything, but there's this camera right here. Whoa. And it's actually a really kind of fun drawing. It's my friend Jason, and he just sent me this. It says my newest piece, and I don't know if you can actually see that, but
oh, it's upside down.
It's upside down.
There we go. Almost. Oh wow! Look at that.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's like really intense.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I kind of feel that way.
I'm surprised it shows up so well on the little phone screen. That's really cool. Kind of
as well. I was like, I don't know if this is going to work.
I've just seen the little sketch that you're working on. It's so cute.
I can't see it on there because my little thing is way too small. Like, so if this is the whole thing, what I see on the computer is like this big.
What? Really? Can you not see us chatting to each other on Google Hangouts?
Oh, I can, yeah. But I'm a little guy in the corner. Although I do have it on the other one as well, but the timing is weird. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying.
You need a smudge guard, man.
I do. So I was wearing a sweater and it has really long arms, but it is really hot in here right now.
Yeah.
And Mike has a fan, but he always complains that it makes too much noise. I always hear him be like, I'm going to turn that fan off, because in the podcast you just hear. And then there's 2 windows right next to me that lead to the outside, which would be great to open. But I don't know if anyone's getting murdered in our alley tonight.
I love that you describe the windows as they lead to the outside, like they'd lead to anywhere else.
I don't know. I used to live in a room in an apartment that had no windows. And
What? No, that's like illegal.
I think it is. and my roommate who lived in the room next door to me, he had a window in his room, but it didn't go to the outside. It just went to there was a shared studio space where we had art studios, and his window just overlooked this room that we had studios in.
That's rubbish. That's awful.
Yeah, I'm glad I got out of that place. It was like living in a cave.
Oh my god. I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
I'm pretty sure it is too. It didn't have a closet either, so it was really strange. Like everything I owned was just there with me in the dark.
David just put, I had a flip phone for nearly 10 years until just before uni. Keep up the good fight, Tim. Don't give in to the modern tyranny of touchscreens.
So here's the thing. I've had this phone for so long, and every single person, whenever I I have a phone call, or someone's texting me, or like I go out with people and they're just like, let's go to this place and just look it up on your phone. It's like, I can't do that. And then I pull this thing out and I get made fun of constantly for it. Constantly. But I don't care. And my reasoning is it costs barely anything to have this phone, and it's just a phone. I have a computer. The computer does what, it's a laptop. I can take it with me. I can do whatever I want with it. And I don't need a computer in my phone. And also, it's a huge distraction. A lot of people, when you try to have a conversation with someone, they're just looking at their phone and they're having conversations with other people. And I think that's, I don't want to say it's rude, but it is. And I don't know. I love my flip phone. It's kind of great. And
also, flip phones are the best things because you can do that cool little CSI flip thing.
So I can't show you this thing that I can do with this phone, but I've been practicing it for years. Or basically, so I take this phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't do it here, but you hold it like this, and then you just kind of flick it. And as it twists, the centrifugal force makes it open, and then opens, and then lands in your hand. I don't always get it. It's very difficult to get, but it's just something.
On a daily basis, do you do?
Let's see. It's like I don't know. It's something fun to do because it's just you have it in your pocket and then you pull it out and then
sparks.
Yeah. So it's not something that I do to impress people. I usually do it when I'm by myself. It's just something to pass the time.
Just like art.
Exactly. Exactly like art. We were so far along. You're almost done. I just drew an outline.
Almost done. What are you on about?
No. Oh, geez. How I can't keep up with the chat. Your brother is got a lot going on in here.
They're talking about podcasts.
Yeah, it's really hard though, because even trying, it's so much easier to read when I don't have to talk.
Yeah. So you usually sat there lurking, creeping on everyone in the chat then?
Yeah. sometimes I feel bad about it, but then other times I'm just kind of like, oh,
It's the internet. It's fine.
yeah, it's the internet. It's totally fine. I could be a lurker on Reddit. I could be a lurker everywhere. And also, it's the internet. So
2015.
I know. I don't know. Everyone always gives me a hard time about it, but I don't know. Like Smokey Beard's been trying to get me on forever. It's like, oh, you got to go on Reddit. I'm like, I do all the drawings. He's like, yeah, just post them.
You should post them. They're so good.
Yeah.
Seriously, they're artful. All right, I'm gonna look at my little. I built up a list. I always forget to do a list. I leave it to Mike, and I'm like, Mike, you can do a list. He's like, okay, fine. I'll make a list, and we can talk from the list. So I had to make a list today. So here's one. Have you ever had to work on artwork that included some kind of cultural aspect, or had to be sensitive to a culture that it was depicting?
Yes. I mean, my first illustration job was I did a project for the Los Angeles Municipal Water District, and it was the kids section where they wanted to they wanted to teach kids how to make like rain sticks.
Okay.
It's like a Native American. It might even be like an Aboriginal thing as well, which is basically this big hollow log, and they fill it with beans, and then as you turn it, all the beans go down the log, and it makes the sound of rain. It's like,
I love those. They're so cool.
So I had to do like a step-by-step illustration on how to make it, and then also do drawings of like kids with these things, but it had to show the culture of them as well, like where they came from.
Okay.
But also had to be tasteful. It's for children, and also, you know, it's a very it's difficult especially in the United States, I guess everywhere else in the world too, as far as like being sensitive to other cultures, because we do have a lot of really insensitive things that we have done in the past and also do currently, and those things are the world watches us, and we're supposed to be like
every country has that.
every country has that, but at the same time,
a wide range of it. Like,
I mean, especially like with the UK and the US, at least within the last, like, I don't know, 100 years or maybe even 200 years for the UK, you've kind of been like the world's, I don't want to say like big brother, but like you've been the one who's supposed to be showing what and how we should do morally, you know, setting up just setting up like, you know, codes of ethics and morals for the world, and just things that we're supposed to be setting a good example, because we are wealthy nations and we have a lot of military power, and so like people can't, like other countries can't like just, you know, spark war with us, and if you're a bully and you have that, then obviously, you know, it's like that's not good. That's not a good example. That's nothing, and to, you know, be proud of. So you try to do good. I mean, as Americans, this country is pretty struggling with that.
Well, every country is right now.
Yeah,
but
every country is struggling with that.
It's nice to, if you can do your little bit to put in the effort.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
So
this project, how did it go?
It went really well, actually. The funny thing about it was I did this really detailed, really just kind of like it was a really detailed, really complex drawing that I thought was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave it to them, and they were just like, "This is gonna scare the children. Can you make it much less complex and a lot simpler and just more fun?" And it took me, I would say, probably a good 14 hours to do this drawing. And so a friend of mine was over and I was like, "I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. What do they mean by simple? What do they mean by more fun? Like, I think this is like, it's not offensive. It's really fun and it's really great." And then she was just like, "Oh, just do something really quick." And so I was like, "What, like this?" And I just drew this little guy like really fast, this little kid playing with a rain stick. And she was like, "Yeah, that's perfect." And I was like, "Oh, it's got to be more than that. I can't just submit this." And she's like, "No, you should just submit this." So the next day I submitted that, and they're like, "This is great. This is absolutely perfect. This is exactly what we wanted."
Oh my God.
And it literally took me 5 minutes.
That's
and I
really
got paid
cool,
a
though.
lot of money for it.
That's really cool, though. I think that kind of shows how important it is to really clarify with the client about what you want, what they want even.
Exactly. If people were clear, it would make commissions and things so much easier. I know Mike got a commission once where somebody wanted something specific and he drew it and they're like, "Well, can you change this a little bit?" And he was like, "Well, that's exactly."
Oh, hello.
Whoa, something's going on.
Oh, what have you done?
I didn't do anything.
Uh,
I'm not touching anything. What is happening?
What just happened? It made you join the call and then kicked previous you off, and now you're you. So I think that you're a double. I don't think you're the original you. I think something happened. You were replaced. Aliens showed up. We're gonna have to ask specific questions to find out if it's the real you.
Wait, so should I be a different person now?
No, you're Mike. It's fine.
Okay.
Dude, I thought that was the real one. I was so shocked.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You should have seen my face. I was like, no.
That's what Mike would do.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so how I'm watching it in the little it's like the lag. I'm watching and I just I didn't touch anything. My hands are here. It kicked me off and then I came back on.
Well, there was a weird beep noise.
Yeah, I heard that.
Your apartment, and then you were replaced with a clone of yourself.
Whoa, that's so strange. I may have been abducted.
I think
I'm not gonna lie. This may have actually already happened before, and I'm just repeating the day.
We have it on film though, so it's fine.
No, it's not gonna show up.
Everyone will be wondering what on earth we're talking about.
Yeah.
Have these people just gone loopy? That was really strange.
I swear I didn't touch anything. I have no idea how that happened.
You didn't even touch anything because I saw it. Your hands were there drawing. Like, oh my God, I'm crying. Oh, artwork. Aliens. It's fine. Yeah, so I asked about this because I'm working on a project at the moment that uses certain cultures, and during the interview with the guy when he was talking to me about taking the project, he gave me a few warnings and he was like, "This involves certain case studies and in this current culture it will look sexist." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then it was because they were using case studies from countries where it's very like the man goes out to get the dinner and stuff and to get the food, to like get paid for the food, and then the woman cooks it at home and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
To one man said, "I just peed at the Funisher surprise. I almost dropped my brush."
Is he just starting? Are you just starting, Jamal man? I figured you'd be done by now.
um, so, what was it? Yeah, so I thought that was interesting because they wanted me to make sure that these two characters that I was drawing obviously loved each other because they were like husband and wife and stuff. And I thought it was interesting that I'd have to think about that for a project. Like, how would I show things that in my culture don't happen or are frowned upon, but in a positive light, that kind of thing. Yeah. I thought that was interesting. You don't often get things like that.
Yeah, it's also, I mean, it's like getting context for drawing from, like, especially when you're doing something from another country's perspective. I mean, these are things that are foreign to us. I mean, it's like when, I mean, I might know a little bit more about English culture than Mike does, having lived there, and knowing when you talk about like, never mind the bullocks, I'm like, oh, that show's great. And then Mike's like, I don't know what that is. And certain things of that nature, where it's just, if you're privy to it, it makes all the sense in the world to you.
Yeah.
But if you're not, it's just so foreign. And it's like, what? You guys have what now?
What? I saw Mike and Ike's.
Mike's
have a thing.
Yeah, Mike loves those things. Absolutely loves them.
He was telling me that I had to try them, and I saw them at MCM, and I didn't get them because I'm a terrible person.
Do you guys have like just regular jelly beans and things? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're kind of like a fruitier version of jelly beans.
You're a fruitier version of a jelly bean.
Saw that one coming.
I'm looking through my little list again. If it was fun to have a list, I've got it on my phone because I have a proper phone.
A proper phone. Hey, my phone is proper. It can make phone calls. Can your phone do that? Huh?
Not very well, to be honest.
See? Another reason why smartphones are not very well. They're smart, but they should be called smart miniature computers that fit in your pocket.
Machines.
Yeah, and not very smart phones.
You need a watch to make them cool people now.
Yeah, which I think is a terrible idea.
Oh, what, the watch? The Apple Watch?
It's ridiculous.
Some people are really into it. It's got like a ridiculous waiting list as well. Right. Okay, so I went to the Apple store recently, so I saw this in person. This is amazing. So if you want to get an Apple Watch, first you have to book an appointment to talk about it, okay? So, so you book an appointment at the Apple store, and you show up there, and they're like, hello, this is the time that you booked your slot for, and you book which of the like straps and stuff you want to see, and then you try it on, and then if you go, yes, I'd like to take it, they go, well, you can't have this one, it's booked till July, you'll get one after July, good luck.
That is so ridiculous.
I thought that was so funny.
Why did they release it now? Why didn't they release it in July when they will have orders ready?
No, they have got them. It's just,
but you can't. You have to go through all this, and then like you get it, but like you have to order it. Like they send it out in the mail.
You're missing the point, man. It's like the Amiibos. They're creating kind of like a non-existent value for it, essentially. So by making it rare in the fact that it's hard to get hold of, even though you can print as many of them as you want, essentially, it then becomes more, you want it more and it's worth more.
Yeah.
So the fact that they make you order for it, no matter when they were going to release it, they were going to make you wait and order it.
I guess that's true.
It's so mean.
Well, I don't know. I'm really upset with Apple right now. I have a Mac. I have a MacBook Pro, and I love it. It's great. But all the stuff they're doing as far as like cloud computing and making you buy a Mac Air that you can't plug anything into.
Oh my god, no!
Or-
I'm so not into that.
MacBooks. It's like, so you have this amazingly beautiful Cintiq, if it still works, that you just bought, that has 2 USB ports.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to buy a new MacBook, not the MacBook Pro or the MacBook Air, but the new Mac, well, I think even the MacBook only has 1 USB port, or the MacBook Air. But the new MacBook doesn't have any. It just has that one little everything port.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
How do you plug your tablet into that?
The stupid thing is they're writing off all the arty people, like all the musicians, the artists, like all of us who are the people who were originally like the Mackie people. We're the ones who can't get them. Yeah,
that's what I was having this conversation with Mike. So basically, the only reason why Apple Computers exists the way that it does now is because of creative people. I don't mean now as in like right now. I mean, the reason why we have MacBook Pros that we can use, the reason why that there's, the iPhone and everything is because Apple Computers was able to stay afloat in a time when they weren't really competing in the computer market with basically Microsoft and then all of the other hardware manufacturers at the time. And MacBook Pros and just like the big powerhouse Mac PCs the Mac towers and stuff, like they were made for artists. They were not made for, but like the artist community used those. Graphic designers used them. Filmmakers used them. Musicians used them. And now we can't.
Yeah.
So what's the point of having a Mac if you can't use it for all of the things you need it for? Like, I make videos, like short films and things, and I do all my editing on my computer. And I used to use Final Cut, and they went from Final Cut 7 to Final Cut X, which is basically a glorified version of iMovie, and it doesn't do what I need it to do. And I don't know, it's just like, it's a step backwards. And I don't know.
What kind of videos do you make?
Mostly like small short narratives. Like I don't make very many of them, just because one, I don't have the time, and two, it's really difficult to work on projects. I don't have a very big social network of filmmakers or anybody that I know. The people that I do know that make films are not living in this country.
Always the way, isn't it?
Yeah. And so, and also, I'm not a big fan of American cinema so much, Hollywood type of filmmaking. So it's really difficult for me to, I don't know, to get into making films with other people here when everyone just wants to make the newest zombie movie or, the next big blockbuster thing. It's like, I like things that are a little more simple and a little more real and a little more, I don't know, just, I'm much more of a realist than, even though, okay, don't get me wrong. I love my, my fantasy, and science fiction. But I like it when they're done well and not just like big crazy special effects.
Right. I like Star Trek's my thing. Star Trek and Stargate, they were always like my thing.
Yeah, I grew up watching Star Trek, like The Next Generation.
Yeah, that was the one I grew up with.
That was the best. I'm going to get in trouble if I start doing the whole Star Trek, Star Wars thing. People are like, oh, you don't, Star Wars is so cool. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Star Trek's so much better, though.
I never got into Star Wars very much. Like, there's little bits of it that I remember really well.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that was really cool.
Star Trek is, Star Wars is fun. Star Wars is really, it's fun. But Star Trek is just it's so much smarter. It
feels like it means something.
Yeah.
There's so many people going to be annoyed by that.
People don't like hearing that Star Wars is not the greatest thing in the world because everyone thinks that it is. They're more than welcome to have those opinions because everything is subjective. I prefer Star Trek.
I went to Destination Star Trek London. It was so legendary. That was like a Star Trek convention, and they had every single one of the captains there.
Oh, that's got to be pretty awesome.
It was so cool. And I watched a talk by Sir Patrick Stewart, and it was just like, this is literally like the most amazing thing.
Again, I've been to Comic-Con a bunch of times. The only Star Trek people that cross over in Comic-Con are usually fans. So you have people doing the cosplay. Is it called cosplay if it's Star Trek?
Yeah, okay. Still cosplay, yeah.
Okay. Because they have their own thing, their own world, which is kind of amazing. But there's usually not a whole lot of people from Star Trek that are there. I don't know. Like,
have you seen an increase in like anime stuff
at Comic-Con?
Yeah.
So anime has always been there. That's the thing. It's like it's always had a presence. In fact, I remember. I don't remember which podcast it was, but you were talking about how a lot of times people kind of give you guff about anime and being like, oh, that's not a real art form, or that's not a real comic book form. And if you go to these conventions, which you do, you realize that it is not only a real art form and a real comic book thing, but it is massive.
Yeah.
It's not just a little, oh, you draw anime. It's like, it's a proper thing. Yeah, it's pretty big there. Anime is huge.
Oh God, Subliminal Cucumbers just hurt me. So Subliminal Cucumbers just shown up in chat and has said that Star Trek Deep Space Nine is the best Star Trek. I can't agree with you. I'm sorry.
Everyone has their opinions. Yours just so happen to be wrong.
Deep Space Nine had its moments. There were particular characters that I really, really liked.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Main storyline, what was that?
Yeah.
I can't. I'm sorry. It just wasn't. It wasn't for me. Alison says that they're a Voyager fan. I agree with you there.
Yeah,
Voyager was legendary.
Voyager was great. Deep Space Nine, huh?
What did you think of Deep Space Nine?
I liked it. It wasn't. I'm not opposed to it. I hardly watched it, to be honest.
Yeah.
It didn't grab my attention as much. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't do it for me.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think there were particular things, and I won't say what they were, but there were particular things in that main storyline. I was just like, nope. Nope. Subliminal Cucumber says, next gen was my jam until Cisco shaved his head and grew the goatee.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no. Beep. There we go.
Yeah, I knew bringing up the old Star Trek. Well, I guess no one's complaining about Star Wars. So a good thing about that is the podcast chat, I would imagine, agrees with us.
Yeah, we're a bunch of Trekkies. Hey.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're we're Trekkies all kind of going in our own random different directions.
Does that
But
mean
at least we're Trekkies.
Does that mean RT people are Trekkies? Is this enough of a selection of people for us to say that?
I think that could classify as enough people that we can say that art people are Trekkies and non-art people are Star Wars fans.
Oh my god, let's make like a BuzzFeed post or something that says that and see how many people just go so upset.
Star Wars fans are not creative. Dun dun dun. We'll get hate mail. It'll be awesome.
We'll get hate mail, it'll be awesome.
What is that? Any publicity is good publicity? I don't believe in that, but
I don't believe in that either.
I hate publicity. I hate anything that involves.
Well, you're Mr. Mystery.
Exactly. I don't like being in the spotlight.
Welcome to a live stream.
I know.
There are 5 people watching you.
Yeah. All 5 people whom which I will have to shut up.
What's your favorite hair color to draw?
Graphite. Graphite.
Do you tend to stick to just pencil then, like just graphite?
Yeah, I usually stick. Well, so I used to always draw in graphite, just in pencils, and then a good friend of mine, because I would constantly like draw and erase and draw and erase, he was like, "You don't get to use pencils anymore. Use only pens, ballpoint pens, ink pens, whatever.
Nice.
If it makes a permanent line, that's all you can use." So I did that for years, and I really learned how to draw without, not draw without making mistakes, but draw with accepting the mistakes that you make.
Yeah, commit.
Yes, committing, putting down a line, and it's very confident. And then I started. I started working on a few drawings for a show, and then they needed to happen quickly, and so I just went back to pencil, and I've kind of just been using it ever since.
That's pretty cool. It means you're getting good at it. Like that means that's your thing that you're good at.
Yeah, I mean, I used to paint and I used to use color a lot as well, but I'm not very good with color as much as I am just with solid black and white. I don't know exactly why. And it doesn't make sense to me because you've taken like that little color test thing where it's like, it's all the little swatches.
Yeah.
They're all mixed up and you have to like align them with, which one goes in which order.
The Pantone color test or whatever it is. And it's like X something, the actual company.
And so basically like it tells you how good you can see color. And so I really surprised myself with that test because I always imagined that I can't distinguish the differences between colors when I'm looking at this particular photograph right now. I can see colors in her face, but if I was to draw her face, I would probably just use like 2 colors, maybe like a light tannish brown and then like a pink, and there's grays in there and there's purples in there and there's greens in there and obviously blue in her eyes, oranges for her freckles, all sorts of things. But when I put it down with paint, like for some reason I can't mimic that, and so I've just never been good at those colors. But in that Pantone test, I scored absolutely perfectly.
Really?
Yeah. Like
nice.
Because like it's the lower your number, the better you did, and I got a 0.
Dude, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was kind of amazed with myself. I was like, really?
That's insane. I was as a kid, I was told that I had absolutely perfect color vision by a optician, and then when I did the test, I think I got a 3. I was pretty happy with that, but dude, a 0, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I was pretty impressed with myself and also amazed.
I think the interesting thing, like, because I've been studying color, like I tend to take one thing and study it for a little while, and I've been studying color recently. And the thing that I've really learned is that you can use any color when you hue shift as long as you stay in the same tone, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So using the same values, you could throw in a blue and a green and whatever into the skin tone, it still works. I think that's really interesting. Learning little tips and stuff like that has really helped me to improve faster.
Yeah.
Do you have like a little top tip that you give to like newer artists or anything?
As far as just with anything drawing wise, just if you like drawing, just do it. I mean, the more you draw, the better you're going to get at it. I mean, it's always good to look at things, but at the same, like, everyone wants to learn a certain way to draw. Everyone thinks that there's a right way or a wrong way, and there probably is. But art is very subjective, so you can literally do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's not wrong. And like, I have a friend who his drawings are not the most proportionate or realistic, or even, I don't know, like if someone who was really like an amazing artist would look at his work, they'd just be like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. It's really kind of not very good. But then if you just kind of appreciate it for what it is, they're amazing. Like, they're really just like the thought process that goes into them, just kind of how they are. They're quirky and they're fun, and he's having a good time with them. And I think that's more important than the art being, quote unquote, good to some critic or some other person.
I definitely agree with you. I think if you're having fun with it and you're doing the thing, you're being, I think I heard a phrase and it was always be the best you that there could be. Like, as long as you're doing that, then you're doing it right.
Yeah. So, I mean, even though we all have our artists that we look up to, what our art is influenced by, who it's influenced by, you can take from all of those people. You can mimic them as much as you want, but you have to, in the end, be you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've heard you and Mike talk about style before, and a lot of people ask about style. How do I get my style? Whatever, style. And your style, I agree with Mike on this, where your style is, if you draw and you keep drawing, you have a style. It doesn't matter if all your drawings are incredibly different. If you look at them all together, there's going to be some fundamentals that are similar, whether it's your line movement, whether it's how smooth things are, how rough things are, your placement, your use of proportion, whether you're perfect in proportion or things are misproportionate. Like, you'll have some sort of distinct characteristic that is just you. And that's your style. There you go. You have one.
Definitely.
Oh, your brother just posted a quote by Pablo Picasso that says, "It took me 4 years to paint like Raphael, but a lifetime to paint like a child." And so I used to collect kids' drawings because they're amazing. After you've learned to draw, you can always get better and you can always get better. But to have that innocence and that simplicity of a childlike Mark is one of the most difficult things to relearn, and to put down that mark and know that child, or to make it feel that a child did it as opposed to an adult trying to draw like a child, is one of the most difficult things as an adult artist that you can do. It is so difficult because it's like you can instantly see that someone's a fraud.
Yeah.
You're not 6 years old.
Yeah.
You're in fact an adult.
There's like one person in Hollywood or something who can do it really well, and he's hired for like every production or something stupid.
That's actually a 6-year-old child.
They just rotate them all the time. I found a drawing that I did a long time ago when I was like, I don't know, trying to figure out when I took piano lessons, because it was a card to my piano teacher. So I must have been about 11, something like that, or maybe 13. And it's just like a big picture of Garfield, and I was like, that's so ridiculous. It's just like, happy birthday from Sarah, and then a giant picture of Garfield. And I was like, all right, well done, child Sarah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I used to draw cartoons nonstop. Cartoons and comic books. That's how I learned to draw.
Did you have a favorite character to draw?
Or
a favorite type of character?
Let's see. I drew Ninja Turtles a lot.
Okay.
I drew Ren and Stimpy a lot. Anything that was on Nickelodeon at that time. Let's see. I did draw a lot of Garfield. And then as far as comics go, I probably didn't start drawing like, the mainstream style of comics until I was maybe 13 or 14, and Spawn was really big then. So I would draw Spawn a lot.
I have no idea what that is.
It's one of those weird superhero style things, but Spawn is just like this demon character.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Google images. Oh my god. Oh whoa, this character's ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. This would be the kind of character I'd draw. Yeah. I used to draw a lot of like Shadow the Hedgehog. I like drawing video game characters. I've got a drawing that I did when I was like 11 or something of Ifrit from Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
Just like the big dog fire thing. I used to love that kind of stuff. I still kind of do. I love anything that's like black and red and evil.
Oh, then you would love Spawn.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. I was just like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Apologies if I'm making weird noises on the mic. It's just because of who I am as a person. So there was something I was thinking about earlier, and it kind of ties into that. Do you feel like your relationship with art, because a lot of people describe it as a relationship, do you feel like it's changed a lot over the years?
Yes. What
kind of things do you think are probably like the most fundamental things that have changed?
So when I first started making art, which is, I don't know, first memories when I was younger, and then all the way up until probably into high school, before university, I just drew whatever I wanted. And it, like, the idea of having to do something and the idea of having an art world out there and all of that didn't exist. Like, I just like cartoons and comic books, and that's what I drew. And no one told me I was doing something right, and no one told me I was doing something wrong, and I just did what I loved. And then I got to university, and my professor said, you can't draw comic books. You can't do this here. You can't draw cartoons. You can't do these things. This is not what we teach. And then they started teaching, like, proper drawings, like learning from the masters and all that kind of stuff. And it really kind of changed my perspective as far as how I drew and what I drew. And granted, I learned quite a lot, and I'm able to draw fairly realistic drawings and have a certain, I don't know, style of drawing. But even though I know it's me that's drawing it, and it feels like me, it doesn't feel like it really is me.
Oh, because it didn't connect with the thing that it did when you were a kid.
Yeah, and also it became more of a task and a chore. And then Mike talks a lot about the art world and his relationship to it, and how my relationship is very similar to it, because I'm in the same world as far as, we work in the art world in an art related job. We've gone the fine art route as far as like trying to show in galleries, which I've maybe 2 years ago decided that, well, maybe I didn't decide then, but I decided I don't want to do that. I don't want to take that route. I want to go a different route, which I'll get to in a second. But because of all these things, it kind of made me not like art, but not have the passion for it that I used to, not have the joy and excitement that I used to have for it. And it became this thing that I had to figure out how to make art that the art world and academia will accept.
Right.
And that is not the art that I want to make. And it's never been the art that I want to make. But for some reason, I was kind of steered towards that direction by being in the art world, being in art academia, having all of that around me, and having it not be okay to do the things that I wanted to do, and having those things not be accepted. And then kind of like the lowbrow art movement kind of happened, where it allowed people to do like fun, quirky, cartoon style work and show it in galleries. And then a lot of my friends who were doing that kind of stuff actually started doing pretty well. And I kind of feel like they never gave up with their cartoon drawings. They never gave up with their comic book style. And now, like they're in the spotlight, and they're doing really well financially with their work. And I kind of feel that I got pushed into making something that wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do. And I missed that opportunity.
That is not true, man.
Yeah, I know this.
Yeah.
But that's the way that I kind of felt about it.
Yeah.
And so what I recently decided to do was, I'm not a very social person. I mean, I like hanging out with people and I like all of that, but I don't like going to art shows. I don't like notoriety. I don't like all of that kind of stuff. And so I would even have art shows, and I would go there because you have to go there. And then I would just leave after like 20 minutes. I would let the show take on its course and do what it does. And people would be there and like, oh, where's the artist? And like, oh no, he's around here somewhere.
He ran away.
And then I would come back like, at the end of the show when everyone's gone, and then just, be there for the people who stuck around at the very end. Because I can't handle a lot of people all at the same time. It's really difficult. And I don't like that. That's not where I want to be in the art world. I'd much rather be behind the scenes. I'd much rather just kind of make things and, let people appreciate them, or even not look at them. It doesn't matter. I just want to make things and be creative and do what I want to do. So I've removed myself from that whole aspect of the art world, and now I'm just getting back into doing what it is that I want to do.
Yeah.
So I'm drawing much more like independent style comics. I'm not doing full on comic books, but just kind of trying to get that. I guess it is a style that's the illustration style back. I'm trying to get my my comic book legs back, you know, as opposed to the fine art drawing. And I'm also trying to include them together.
Yeah, definitely, because that'll be what makes you different and makes your work stand out. That'll be the style.
Yeah, and the thing is I want to be able to just do whatever I want to do, and I want to make comics, and I want to draw cartoons, and I want to make short films, and I just want to have fun with it again. And I want to love what I do and be passionate about it, which I feel like I lost that somewhere, and it's a scary thing if you lose that. Don't ever lose that. Because you've drawn your entire life, yeah?
Yeah.
Can you imagine not drawing?
No.
Can you imagine not making art?
No, I cannot. If I lost my arm, I'd have to figure out how to do it with the other arm.
Exactly. And so if you get into a headspace that doesn't allow you to make the art that you want to make, or in a physical place, whether it's, your job doesn't allow you to have the time for it, or whatever the case may be, it's a scary thing,
Yeah, I've ended up in places for short periods of time where I've not been able to create artwork, and it was caused by not getting into university, because like what you're describing, I kind of sort of planned ahead for uni doing something like that to me. And I basically thought, right, if I go to university for art, then I'm going to a very specific university or college, because I was looking at America anyway.
Yeah.
And I decided, if I go to uni for art, then I'm going to go to one where the whole point of it is to do comics. I was like, I want them to be comics people, and they teach you comics, and I want it to be like New York or something. So I got a place at the School of Visual Arts, and then I didn't get the scholarship. And they said, oh, you were good enough for the scholarship, you can reapply. But I was far too stressed at the time to cope with that. And there was like a period of time after that where I literally I was like, well, it doesn't matter anymore. I'm not going to get anywhere. There's no point. I missed my chance. All of that rubbish. I was very lucky to have a group of people around me who were just like, shut up, sort yourself out.
Yeah, just keep making it. Just keep making your art. Don't worry about what,
exactly.
Not getting into a school. I mean, in retrospect, I mean, school was great. It did a lot for me, but it also took a lot away. It doesn't teach you, well, it depends on the school. Teaching you how to be an artist outside of academia. So out in the real world, what does it take to be an artist? They just tell you that, out of 100 of you, only 2 will make it. But they don't tell you how or why. They're just like, okay, 2 of you guys are going to become real artists.
Which probably isn't even real. That probably isn't even true now. Yeah. The world that we live in. There are millions of successful artists. Just it depends on your theory of what success is, and also what they're doing. You're not successful just because you work at Marvel now. It's a very different world. Which
is something that, I mean, I don't know, you found that out fairly young and fairly early, and for me, when I was younger, it was like, if you don't get the job at Marvel, then you're nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it is presented in that way, and even some of the conventions kind of treat you like that, and then you realize, I'm doing my thing, I'm doing it well, I have places to go, but I've also gone this far. I'm successful in that way. Like you realize that actually the word success is more fluid than you initially thought it was.
Yeah. Well, and in the comic world, you're successful, in my eyes, you're successful if you're there doing it.
Yeah.
And especially if you're able to be in Comic-Con, if you're able to be in a convention, having your booth, doing what you do, and people come up to you that you've never met before and just be like, oh, hey, I like your work. This is cool. That's successful.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter how many of them. You could have one or you could have 10,000. But as long as someone came up there, and if you brought yourself there and someone comes up there, like, you've done something for someone else.
Yeah.
No one can show up and you've done it for yourself, and that's good and it's a great feeling, but then you're not going to feel that successful.
You're not going to go home with some money.
Yeah. Let's face it. We're only human. We have feelings.
We need to eat. It's a thing.
Yeah.
I've noticed a thing now. Like the clients I'm getting now, it's moved from making sure, like it used to be, what, how much, that kind of thing, and now it's how long.
That's a much better question.
It is. It's nicer, but it's still like, why can't you just accept it?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times too, like I have this struggle. I don't know if it's because I work traditionally, and you see a lot of digital artists. I think it's because whether it's with painting, you can do a digital painting and you don't have to wait for paint to dry.
Oh yeah, we were having this conversation last week, weren't we? Or whatever week it was.
Yeah, things move so much faster and digitally, where you can just crank things out. It's not like, it doesn't take any effort. It takes a lot of effort, and there's a lot of learning that goes into it. You could have 80 hours of previous drawings that got you to be able to make a drawing in 20 minutes, which is that's the same thing with anything. But it becomes so much easier, and or not easier, so much quicker, and people see the fact that it only takes 20 minutes to do a drawing on a tablet, and they expect you to be able to crank that out in whatever medium you use.
Well, even like people don't factor certain things in. Like even if you're working digitally, you still have to come up with the thing. Like people forget that. Like you've got to figure out how you're going to tackle the project. Then you have to like go into it and figure out the different like sections of it and stuff like that. And it's like there's a whole other like aspect rather than just physically drawing it as well.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people don't take that into consideration. It's like in any sort of art. I mean, yeah, there are artists that, society sees them as the creative geniuses where you can just like, I'm just going to start drawing something and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And that happens not very often, but it does. And then you get the rest of us that actually have to like, especially when it's something you're getting paid for, you want to make sure it's right. So you sketch it out, you make sure your proportions are right or your composition is right. You'll make sure you have the right colors, everything. You just you really have to plan a lot. And they don't, a lot of times when people are hiring you, they don't expect that planning to be part of the cost.
Yeah.
But it's like, without this, you wouldn't get the product that you got.
How are you feeling about your drawing, by the way?
I feel like I'm going really slow. I would usually not be done by now, but be much closer.
I'm surprised we haven't had a Demand Man piece yet.
He finished 4 hours ago. He just didn't tell us.
Doesn't want us to feel so hurt.
Yours is looking really nice.
Oh, thank you. I'm not sure how I feel about it. There's a few bits that I don't know if I've made the right decision on, but oh well, life moves on.
So getting back to your question earlier about the hair color.
Oh yeah.
Um,
About that.
my favorite hair color to draw, aside from graphite and black, because that's the tools that I use. I don't know. I like this color, like the fiery red.
Yeah.
If I work in markers, I think red is a lot easier to do than brown or black, or blonde is the hardest. It's so hard to draw blonde hair.
And make it not look fake. Like
yeah, it either comes out too yellow or has like some green in it or some weird, I don't know, funky texture that doesn't, colors that make textures that don't really exist in blonde hair. But red's always kind of the easiest.
I think there's something about how reds shine. It's so easy to recreate. Like, you know that it's going to do that kind of fire color. Like, it goes from red to orange to yellow. It's like, there we go,
Yeah.
done.
There was actually a post on Reddit's front page today. I don't know if it was the very front page or like the page after. It was just some girl, her hair.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it showed the back of her hair, the transition from like almost was even like so white, so blonde that it was like almost white, all the way down to a purple, but through the whole orange and red spectrum. It was really quite beautiful.
Yeah, I saw that. That was so cool. I'd love to have proper fire hair, but there's no way that I could keep it up.
Oh, it's got to be. So one of my really good friends is a hairstylist.
Oh,
and
wow.
she works at a really like high-end salon and pays like a lot of money for haircuts. I kind of get haircuts for her from her for free. But she was telling me they have a colorist there, and their colorists, like, apparently like being a colorist for hair is not an easy thing. Like, it takes so much training and so much like knowledge about color theory and all sorts of stuff, and just like chemicals and all sorts of craziness, and they get paid a ridiculous amount of money.
Well,
I had no idea.
They've got to know all about the toners and stuff like that, like how much purple or violet pigment you should add in to be able to make it blonde or something like that. But it just takes so much effort to figure out.
Yeah, and starting with a base too. So it's like, if you're painting, I mean, I guess you start out with a base color. So you want to make, let's say you want to make a red. So you start out with either a red, or, you know, to get it on that spectrum, you add oranges or yellows or purples, depending on which way you want to go. And they're starting with their base is somebody else's hair. So it's not like, it's not something that is already in a tube where you can just be like, oh yeah, I'll just use this and then add this to it. It's like everyone's hair color is slightly different and unique. So
Crazy, isn't it? If you could pick a random job to do, like that would be a random career that isn't as an artist, like a straight up artist, what would you pick?
I would make shoes.
Shoes?
I would be a cobbler.
Why shoes?
Have
Have you made shoes before?
No. I've just kind of always like, I like working with my hands. When I was in school, I studied everything when it comes to art. So I was the school's like wood shop and metal shop foreman. So basically I was in charge of those areas of also I did painting and photography as well in that as far as my jobs, but those were the two main ones that I would actually like do all the time.
Nice.
And so basically like the tactile use of hands making something, some sort of craft, was always kind of nice. And I have really bad allergies, so even though I love woodworking, I can't do it because I'm constantly sneezing and I wear glasses So like if I put on a mask, the steam from your nose goes up into the glasses and fogs them up.
Oh no.
So it's just all kind of a big mess. And then metalworking was great. But the hard part with that is, I don't know, it's just like constantly like getting little metal splinters in.
Yeah, I hated
your
metal.
hands. Like, I don't know, it's super hot, get extra dirty all the time. And so one of the things I've always kind of wanted to learn was either working on smaller metals. So like my sister makes jewelry.
Nice.
It's specifically chainmail jewelry.
Oh, nice. That's really cool.
Yeah. And like she has her own company and is actually pretty successful with it. Like if you were to buy chainmail, like learning how to do chainmail, if you were to buy like the little jump rings and stuff in the US or even other places in the world, like my sister and her boyfriend are probably the people that you would buy those tools from.
Nice.
So, but you know, I really like using those things, and leather has always kind of been, or fabric has always been a good, nice medium to kind of work
So
with.
here's the question then. Those are all perfect things for cosplay. Have you ever cosplayed?
Oh, I have not.
No, dude, you need to
Yeah.
cosplay.
Yeah. So I don't know if Mike's told you about this. Where we live, there's a train station 3 blocks from our house, and we go there and we skateboard all the time. Haven't done it in a while, but usually fairly often. And for skateboarding, there's 2 big days: Thursday night and Sunday, all day on Sunday. But also on Thursday night, they have, so half of this section of the parking lot, half of it is all skateboarders skating, and then the other half is LARPers.
Oh my god.
But not like the like magical potion LARPers. Like
Medieval type.
yeah, like the full-on medieval style,
Yeah.
where they have the proper like time period and everything, like all the real like they have like the swords and the whole arm, not like a full-on shiny suit of armor, but it's a lot of it is like the leather armors with the full metal masks. Like no one's out there with like the big, you know, what you would imagine like a knight looks like with the big like silver shiny armor. None of it's like that, but they do have like, you know, just full metal chest plates and all of the leather garb with them. And so there's a lot of them. Like, at any given night, maybe 30 to 50 LARPers out there. It's amazing.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
And occasionally samurais come out as well in
Whoa.
full samurai like armor. It's unbelievable.
That's
And-
so cool.
The greatest part about it, though, is the fact that you would imagine, like, I don't know, people have their theories of like, oh, you know, skateboards are little punk kids and they like, you know, cause trouble and they're hoodlums and all
Right,
that.
yeah.
And like, you would imagine the skaters would be like, oh, those dorks, look at them playing their stupid sword fighting games. But that's not the case. All the skateboarders usually sit there and be like, dude, that looks so fun. Like, I really wish we could do that. It's like, why don't we just go over there? No, man, can't go over there. Like, these guys are all professionals. They're going to just make fun of us. Like, we're just over here skateboarding.
Really?
It's the exact opposite of the way you would imagine that, like, whole dynamic.
I love that. That'd be a perfect comic book.
It's like the LARPers are just like, they're so cool. And all the skateboarders are just like, I wish we were that cool. And it's not sarcastic. It's just like, they're all just, oh my God, this looks like so much fun.
That's perfect. That makes me so happy.
Although there is another place in Oakland for the other type of LARPing, which I think is kind of fun. Have you ever seen, you don't watch movies.
True.
So there's this movie. There's a couple of movies about LARPing. I'm kind of a film fan, and I watch movies of all spectrums. So a lot of times, like, I like things that are really kind of artsy and boring and weird that a lot of people don't like. But then I also have my what is the term? You're I'm totally spacing right now. Where it's like, you know, you have things
like
that you're
comfort movies.
Not really comfort, but like your
Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure. That's the word I'm looking for. So guilty pleasures, and my guilty pleasures are really kind of cheesy fantasy movies, and also kind of ones that are very independent. So things that are people just kind of make up on their own. So the special effects are really kind of terrible, or they're just quirky and dumb and silly, and it could have a lot to do with. I don't know if you guys have the Sci-Fi Channel in
we
the UK.
do. Yeah.
So my dad does not stray away from the Sci-Fi Channel when he watches television. So I kind of grew up when sci-fi like came out, and it was like, I don't know, a proper channel. It never like our television never strayed from that channel. So like, I grew up watching like the weirdest things. Everything on there is like the writers are 13-year-old boys. They're just ridiculous. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. But I kind of, I don't know, as dumb as a lot of that is, I grew kind of like a love for it. And and then also, like, I don't know, I grew up kind of being a dork and a geek and a nerd and all those kinds of things. I know it's like the cool thing to say now, to be like, oh, I'm a total nerd, oh, whatever. Like, I'm a geek, I like Marvel comics. But it's like a lot of those
Avengers.
people. Yeah, it's like a lot of those people didn't really grow up that way. But when you did, you kind of, I don't know, you wanted to get out of it sometimes, because but you still love it. And that's why we go to Comic-Con. And as you get older, you realize that, like, the reason why you wanted to get away from it was because people made fun of you for it. And as an adult, you realize no one, like, it doesn't matter if people make fun of you, because you can do whatever you want. You're an adult. Like, if I want to have ice cream for breakfast, I can't because I'm lactose intolerant, but I can if I want.
But you could do it anyway and suffer the consequences.
But I'll just do it anyways. No one's going to stop me. But I don't know. So there's a couple movies that one that fairly recently came out. By fairly recently, I probably like 3 years ago. It's called I think it's called Unicorn City. It's a LARPing movie. It's really cheesy and really kind of dumb. It's more of the, like, magic potions and sparkly fairies, and everyone is like makeshift cosplay that you made at home with zero budget. And then there's another one that came out maybe a year ago or 2 years ago called The Knights of Badassdom.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, it surprisingly has a cast that is very recognizable. Like, Peter Dinklage is in it.
Oh, really?
And like, there's a couple other people that I don't necessarily know their names, but you definitely would recognize their faces if you saw them.
Right.
And I was like, wow, this is a legitimate movie. It's got real art, or like real actors in it. Yeah. But it's pretty fun. It's definitely a guilty pleasure.
I'm drawing Freckles at the moment. This is my guilty pleasure at the moment, Freckles. Like, I've been drawing Freckles on every character I draw lately.
Did you see the podcast last week with Mike?
Yeah.
So there was the figure, and she had freckles on her arms.
Yeah.
And, excuse me, I actually really enjoyed drawing those freckles. It was kind of like, I was like, should I draw these freckles? Like, if I don't draw the freckles, it won't look like her.
There is something about freckles, like drawing freckles, that is really relaxing. I don't know what it is.
You could just kind of put them anywhere. They look really nice on digital. Oh, that's nice.
And then I can just like blur them a little bit afterwards to try and feather them
to make
out.
them look real.
I've just noticed that I've done the eyes too close. Oh well. Oh well. Life moves on.
My face is all weird. I can't tell if it's because of the angle or what. I'm not good with this setup. It's very difficult. I should have come in here like yesterday and worked on a few drawings or something.
So you're working on Mike's little like tilted thingy thing, right?
Yeah.
Have you got something underneath your paper that you're leaning onto that, or are you going straight onto his thing?
No, it's straight onto his thing, and I know he usually uses like his whole drawing pad, and I don't have anything. I was gonna put my binder up there, but it creates a weird angle, and also there's this nice ridge at the bottom that catches the paper, and it catches my binder, but it doesn't catch the paper. It just slides off. Bless you.
Thank you.
So I just figured to go straight on it, and it's textured.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. I was just thinking it's textured. That must be really annoying.
Yeah, and so I don't have the same smooth lines, so I can't get the lines that I usually get. So I feel like I'm drawing kind of like backwards or something. Like I don't know what I'm doing.
It's all right. I understand. I was just looking at it and I was like, how are you coping with that? That's evil.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really good at just kind of dealing with what I have around me.
It's good. You'd make the perfect convention artist. You should come to a convention.
You know, so you want to hear a convention story?
Go on in. I've been waiting for it. Go on.
So there's one that Mike wants me to tell you, which I'll tell you right now, which is kind of fun. It's actually really funny. So the San Diego Convention Center is massive.
Yep.
It is the biggest building. I don't know. It's like a 40 floor or 50 floor building turned on its side. It's just this really, really long building. And how you were mentioning with MCM, how they have little dividers into the big exhibit hall, and every year it gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
They like move the dividers. So San Diego was the same way. I went to it before they started going into the main convention center. In fact, the convention center that it's in now wasn't even built then. Wow, that makes me old. And so it used to be at this little tiny place called the Scottish Rite Center, which was just like a little, like your local, I don't know what you would have.
Sounds like a town hall or something.
Yeah, like a town hall or like an Elks Club or something, like some sort of weird like gentleman's club.
Oh, right, yeah.
Although gentleman's club here is like a strip bar.
Oh. No, yeah, that tends to be like a pub here, and it's got like a golf course or something.
Yeah, something like that. But they have like little halls, like I guess like most hotels have them. So like big hotels. If you go to a large hotel, they have like an exhibit center. And so the new space is like massive. And so there's an upstairs and a downstairs. The downstairs is where the big exhibit hall is. And then upstairs is when they do a lot of the panels. So if you want to go and see, I don't know, like 10 of the, whatever artists or whatever, if you want to see like your heroes talking about work, you go to these panels, and it's basically then, just like a bunch of people talking about whatever topics. So before it got too crazy at Comic-Con, and they just opened the upstairs to a lot of the big panels, there were a lot of small rooms. Not small, they're still very large rooms, but not like the main crazy big exhibit or panel halls. And so they were just empty. So there were probably, about 8 of us, as far as like my friends and I that went, and we just decided to go into one of these things and make up a panel and pretend to be like, have our own discussion. And so me and my one of my friends were in the, like, just sitting down in the audience. There was no one there. It was just us. And then the other 6 of them were all, there was tables set up and everything. So they all went up there and started talking, and, we would ask them questions. And then slowly people started coming into the room, and we just kept this panel going for maybe 20 or 30 minutes of just people, and people started asking questions like, oh, what is this comic book that you're working on? Like, when is it going to be available? Do you have any here now? All these like real questions. And so the whole time it's just, we're just having a laugh. And my friend was sitting at one of the tables, and unbeknownst to everyone in the audience and everyone on the stage, one of my friends at the very end, it's hard to like not name names, because I don't want to get anyone in trouble, I guess. Or
no, don't say their name. Just say it like legally.
So one of my friends looks over and to my other friend, and he's just sitting there, and he's been sitting there the whole time. No one's noticed anything odd or peculiar about him. And he turns and he looks at him and he says, wait a second, are you naked right now?
What?
And he gets up and he flips the table in front of him off of the stage and goes, so what if I am? And he's just standing on stage with his arms like spread open, like spread high, and he's completely naked. He was drunk, by the way. I think we were like 20 years old or something.
That's insane.
Instantly, the entire crowd gets up and walks out, and everyone on the table, like all the panel, like they all get up and walk out. Me and my friend in the audience get up and walk out, all with the exception of these like probably like, I don't know, they're like 18 to 20-year-old kids. It's probably the same age as we were, maybe a little younger, but they were laughing hysterically. And so we all left. We like ran from that exhibit hall as fast as we could. And maybe about like 20 or 30 minutes later, because we all just ran, and our friend was like there, and he was just standing there naked, and then he grabbed his clothes and he like ran. And then so we figured we lost him. Security was going to arrest him or something, like something bad was going to happen. So 20 or 30 minutes later, we go back to see if we can find him, like maybe he was there or whatever. And those kids that were in the audience laughing are now up on stage having their own fake panel.
Oh,
there's
no.
like 20 or 30 people in the seats, and they're just making shit up as they go. It was hilarious.
Oh my
But
god.
that's the Comic-Con story that Mike wanted me to tell you.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, my friends were pretty random and crazy and weird. But, we all have to surround ourselves with people like that. But I don't know, some other ones that are pretty good. One of my friends and I, it was before Comic-Con. It was early in the morning. We got there early and we parked the car, and we went to go get some breakfast. And we walked to the we were walking to this place to eat, and we're standing at the corner, and there was these 2 older gentlemen standing next to us. And I look over and I recognize one of them, and I look at my friend, and I was like, is that? And he's like, whoa, it is. And I look over and I'm like, you're Stan Lee. And he's like,
What?
yes, I am. And then he's like, where are you lads heading off to this morning? We're like, we're just going to go over here and get some food. And he's like, yeah, my friend and I were going to go over here, and we hear this breakfast spot's really good. I'm like, oh, yeah, we're from here. We've been there before. It's great. I think you'll like it. And he's like, yeah, it's nice meeting you guys. And then he just walks off. But I mean, that was one of like the million times I've met Stan Lee. He is amazing in person, by the way. He is like the
Really?
sweetest old man. Like he is, I kid you not. Like you see Stan Lee on like, you know, he does all his cameos, or you watch any sort of interviews with him, and he just seems like this fun, quirky old man who's just so excited about everything. And you imagine like the real world, he's probably just some like, I hate kids, I hate comments, hate, I'm an old man, crotchety. But like in reality, he is exactly who you see. Like he is just this really nice, really kind, really sweet, happy, fun, loving guy. And I don't know, he's got a good sense of humor, and just like he's awesome. Like one time my friend Keith, he didn't have anything to like it was one of the early Comic-Cons. He since has gone back numerous times and had Stan Lee do the same thing almost every year. So he had just his shirt, and he asked Stan Lee to sign his shirt, and he was wearing this really just regular nice like light blue collared business style shirt, which is kind of his uniform. For lack of a better word, he would wear the same clothes all the time, not because it was like he wore the same thing every day because it's dirty or whatever. He had like 50 of the same shirts and 50 of the same pants, and he had a uniform that was him. And so he asked Stan Lee to sign his shirt, and Stan Lee's like, "You really want me to sign this shirt? It's a really nice shirt. I'm just gonna ruin it with a Sharpie." He's like, "You got anything else I can sign? I don't want to ruin your shirt." And he's like, "Oh, just sign it. It's fine." He's like, "That's really strange. You want me to sign a shirt, but okay, I'll do it." But yeah, Stan Lee's awesome.
Oh, that's cool to hear.
Yeah. Like, oh, it's funny too, because like a lot of people that you meet at Comic-Con, I mean, they try to be really good towards the fans. I mean, I don't know how it is with a lot of the Hollywood people, because I mean, if they're used to paparazzi and they're used to all that. But it used to be like, I mean, you used to see celebrities and stuff at Comic-Con just walking through the exhibit hall, and no one really batted an eye. No one cared. They were just like, "Oh, you're so-and-so."
Yeah, they can't do that now.
Yeah, and now it's impossible. You have to wear a mask. You have to, you know, dress up as something. I mean, cosplay is a great disguise for celebrities, because it gives them the opportunity to be there and enjoy it, and also, you know, they get to do cosplay, which is cool.
Yeah.
But also, like, no one knows who they are, and they can go and be people. They can be real people, which they are, and you know, they don't have to worry about everyone following them or doing whatever.
I'm always amazed by the people who play stuff that's watched primarily by families or kids, because obviously they have to keep up a certain persona in public. And I remember Matt Smith, who played Doctor Who, was at MCM one year, and it was obvious that he was like the guest that year, and there were enormous lines to see him, and it was ridiculous. It was obvious that he was just like full on for the whole day. And then at the end of the show, he just ran through the main hall. Like, they have like hidden passageways that all the guests can use. And he just ran through the main hall and just like smiled to every one of the dealers that he ran past. And it was just like, you're just cool.
Yeah. Another person who's there every single year and is like the sweetest, like absolute most kindest, sweetest, nicest person I think I've ever met, is Lou Ferrigno. I don't know if you know Lou Ferrigno.
Doesn't ring a bell.
He played the original Incredible Hulk on the 1970s TV show.
Okay.
He is really nice. And he's there every year. And I don't know, like, as time has gone by, like, you get like Comic-Con San Diego has gone from people who actually are there because of comics to people who are there because of pop culture and movies. And so comics have kind of taken the backstage to a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And comic culture has as well. And Lou Ferrigno was big comic culture back in the day. And I mean, you know, I was going there in like the mid 90s and 2000s and 2010s. And Lou Ferrigno is still like, I mean, he's still a big name. And then now, I mean, yeah, people still know who he is, but for the most part, not a lot of people know or care, which is really kind of sad. And I remember the last year that I went there to San Diego Comic-Con, I would walk past him every now and again, and he was just kind of sitting in his booth by himself. He didn't have any fans coming over, and it was just, I don't know, it seemed kind of sad. But it's just kind of, I don't know, the direction that Comic-Con was going. And I don't really like the way that San Diego Comic-Con was headed or is headed. And then, I always kind of made it a point to go and talk to him because I don't know, it's weird. Like, I don't have that starstruck thing. Like, I don't care to meet famous people. I've met numerous of them. I work in a situation where I go to a lot of very rich people or famous people's houses to install artwork. And so to me, it's just kind of like people are people. And it's not that big of a deal. Also, growing up in Southern California, like...
Oh, yeah.
They're not your neighbors because, I mean, they live in nice neighborhoods and but they're just people you would see around town. They're people who interact within, like, it's like if you lived in London and you saw famous people every now and again, like, it's just because they live there.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of
I get
people,
so struck
like,
so easily.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not.
It's not that someone's famous; it's that someone is someone I respect. That's when I get starstruck. Like, as soon as I see someone who I'm just like, "Oh my god, I love your artwork, and I've always loved your work, and you're amazing," and I'm like, I shut down. I'm just like, and even like YouTubers, I found that's the people who I get the most starstruck with are YouTubers or artists who I follow online, because it's kind of like you see their story and their progression enough that it's kind of like they're not a friend or anything like that, but it's you have a certain view of their work and you've seen it maybe for longer than you would have seen an actor's work, for example. And it just screws with my head because then I see them in real life and it's like, you're from the computer screen.
Yeah, well, it's funny too because like I was, I don't know, when Mike was telling me, he was like, oh, maybe if you did the podcast, and I was like, then I started thinking about it. I watch you guys every week, and I know Mike. I know him personally. I work with him. We live in the same house. We're friends. Like, he's always there in my life. Like, he's a very close friend, and so when I hear him on here, just kind of like, oh, he's talking with, his friends, and his friends are usually kind of like people I know or people I know of because he talks about them so much that you feel that you know them as well. And then with you as well, it's just kind of like, I hear you're in the conversation, you're not in the same room, but you kind of are in the same room. So you kind of get this feeling, it's like, oh, I know Sarah. But then you think about it, it's like, I don't know you. You've never met me until today. Like, we've never interacted until
this moment, and now we're doing like a 4-hour podcast together.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know, it becomes a thing where it's like, I was kind of nervous by that. I was like, well, what if we don't like have the same dynamic? What if we don't have any, like, I don't know Sarah. I know her, but I don't. Just kind of, it's one of those things, like, these people on the podcast, but you don't really know them. You feel like you do, and that's where you kind of get that, like, I don't know, it's maybe that quirkiness or the scariness of like, so and so, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and I think particularly if it's someone who you've watched their work for like a long time, it's like you feel like you could have chatted to them if they were sat in the room. Like, they say things. It's like, oh, I could have just responded to that. So then when they're in front of you and you're like, there's all them times where I wanted to say something to you.
Yeah.
Where do I start? Like,
you remember that time in episode 7?
And they're just like, oh,
season
God.
13 when, I
did that to someone. Like, I saw a YouTuber and they were like hanging out at my table at a show. And I just made like some stupid in-joke to do with their show. And they're like, ha. And I'm like, I was one of those people.
Yeah. It's funny at Comic-Con though, like that's almost so they have the big panels and
the questions
during the
and
panels,
answers.
the questions and answers part,
Oh.
and you have those people coming up on stage, and sometimes it's like, I heard an inside joke with you 5 years ago, and you said this, and I just want you to know that I was there, and it was funny.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
what?
I'm glad it was very important to you at the time, but I have no idea what you're talking about. This is awkward. Next question, please.
Yeah, exactly.
The world to those people, and that's the hardest part, is because, like, I don't know. That's why I always try to get myself to never be starstruck, and because
I think it's definitely a bonus if you can do that. Definitely.
Yeah, but sometimes you're disappointed with people who are your heroes.
Yeah.
That you don't really know. You don't know them, but you
have certain expectations.
Yeah, you have huge expectations of what it is that they've done in the past, or if they play a character and you're absolutely like on par with that character, and just like, oh my god, this character is so amazing, but it's a character that they play. It's not really them.
Yeah.
And so therefore the real them is someone entirely different whom you may think is a cool person, or you may think is a terrible human being. And when you meet those terrible human beings and they're rude to you, and you've put so much like thought and effort into, or just kind of not worshiping, but kind of, like you really want to aspire to do something like them, or you really like their character, or whatever the case may be, and they're just really negative towards you and mean, it's kind of an eye-opener, and I think realize that those people aren't who you thought they were.
I think something on top of that as well is that a lot of people forget the context of them meeting them.
Yeah, so that too.
These people are sat there all day, shaking everyone's hands and signing something and laughing at an in-joke, and then moving on to the next person, doing it again, and they've seen thousands of people before they've gotten to you. And they're not bored, they're not upset to see you, but they're tired. Like, you see it at the end of the show, like, we'll be packing up and you'll see the guests, and they're tired. Like, they've enjoyed it, and you can see them, like, chatting and joking about going to the pub later and seeing whoever, and sometimes they even meet up with, like, some of the fans. But you can just tell that it is tiring, and there's certain things that I've seen shown in other media that I think are taken out of context. For example, there's I've just been off for like a week, maybe 2 weeks almost, because I got con flu. Con flu is the worst thing, right? Because con flu is not a normal flu. Con flu is the culmination of like 120,000 people having the flu and just shoving it onto you, and these guests have to like see thousands of people. So you see screenshots of like the actor or actress with what do you call it, like a antibacterial hand wash stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll see like comments on news sites or on TV, and they'll be like, oh, look, she clearly didn't like this person that she spoke to because she immediately washed her hands. No, she's got to wash her hands. Like, you can't even cope. Like, if you don't wash your hands after every person you touch, like, even walking from where you're sat to the bathroom is a high-risk plan. Like,
oh, that's not entirely true. It's just the common folk. We can't associate with them. We must wash our hands.
And then there's the other thing that is from the same idea, that don't shake people's hands. Instead, a lot of guests will fist bump.
Yeah.
And some people get upset about that because they're like, well, fist bump's kind of not as like as emotional as a handshake or whatever.
Yeah.
But it causes less germs. Like it's there is a factual reason why they're doing that, and I think it's interesting to see not adding in all of the context that maybe you wouldn't see if you didn't see them, like when they're packing up and when they're walking away and when they're just like, it's like, oh, you've got all of that other stuff you've got to do.
Yeah, there's so much that goes into it. Like,
yeah,
you have, especially when it comes to the artists that are actually on the floor. Well, even like the celebrities when they have to go in, because there's a lot that goes into all of that as well. The production of them being there and having to get there.
It's ridiculous. Like the fact that they can get to their stall and you have no idea how they did it, and they're like ridiculously important people. And it's like, how did you get there?
Yeah, when Patrick Stewart just shows up.
Yeah, and it's like, oh,
wait a second, how did you even make it through this mob of 100,000 people to get to this particular spot? Like, that's not humanly possible.
They have hidden passageways. So you've got the convention hall, and then they'll have like a line around the outside of it that you can't see because it's behind the walls, that they just run through that to get to the different places. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not necessarily just for that. It's where you store everything beforehand. It's where you put it all together. Like, I'm used to always working behind the scenes of things, and so it's just kind of part of my life is knowing like those caverns, the ins and outs of those kinds of places. So I go sometimes to a lot of like really high end apartment buildings where if you're not a resident and you're like, if you're a worker of any sort, you cannot use the main lobby and you can't go into the main elevator. You have to use the service elevators and all that kind of stuff because, they don't want somebody walking in there.
Yeah, they've got a certain image.
So, I mean, if I don't show up to like one of these places in like a full on proper suit, it's like, oh, well, this person, they must be just some street hoodlum. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that kind of stuff for places, but it's really kind of nice because those little hidden passageways and secret alleys and whatnot are made to get things from one place to another quickly.
Yeah.
And it's kind of awesome. And that's why like, Patrick Stewart can just be sitting there like in a big exhibit hall presentation talking, and then like 10 minutes later he can be out on the floor like having traversed 100,000 people.
Yeah.
It's like, how did that happen?
It's pretty cool. How's your picture going?
Pretty good.
Yeah, you enjoying it?
I am. It's one of those things where it's like, it's 4 a.m. where you are right now?
3:55, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm enjoying myself. I actually thought I was going to be incredibly nervous.
It's good once you relax into it, isn't it?
Yeah. The hard part is just the setup I feel kind of weird with.
Yeah.
Because I'm not used to it. And also the talking really slows you down.
It does.
I feel so slow. Usually I'd be well past done by now.
Now you know why me and Mike are always so slow.
Yeah. But it's difficult. I don't wanna keep you up till 8 o'clock in the morning, but at the same time I am enjoying myself quite a bit.
No one's posted any artwork.
Yeah, I'm really kind of surprised with chat. I would imagine, Mike being gone, maybe they just don't care.
Oh, we have got a message from the person we're drawing, though. This is fabulous. You've just made my day. I can't wait to watch the show. That was sent when I alerted that we were doing it.
I haven't. Let's see. It's so hard. There's all these different monitors. Mike's got so much stuff going on in his room.
Okay, here's a question for you.
All right, shoot.
If you could work on any comic, which comic would you choose?
That's kind of hard because Let's see. A lot of the comic artists that I like are like solely like it's just them,
Mm-hmm.
and I like that aspect of comic book making.
Okay.
And so to work on a comic would to take it away from them, and I would never want to do that. And I mean, as much as I've gone to Comic Con and comics have been a huge part of my life, I'm not really a huge fan of like the superhero comics and a lot of what is the mainstream of comics.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of much more appreciate and enjoy the independent comic book artists and people who just kind of, you know, they have something that they want to share with the world and they do it.
Right.
So I don't know that I would work on anyone else's work. I think if I could work on any one comic, I would probably want to make my own.
Yeah. Okay.
Which it's an idea I'm kind of toying with right now.
As someone who's done a graphic novel, I definitely recommend it. Like, just for the sheer telling yourself that you've done it. Like, just even without like selling it, just sitting there and looking at a printed copy is a good enough like moment of success. Like, that's like, I did that thing. That's good enough.
Yeah.
I think if anyone ever is thinking of making one, I'd say just go for it. Just do it. Enjoy it. I don't care what your artistic level is or what your writing level is. Just do it. Have fun. And then look back at it and say, I did that. And then move from there in whichever way you want to take it. But it's so worth it.
Yeah, I understand why you're saying that, and I agree with it entirely. Because I mean, I used to I make films, short films and things, and haven't done very many, and it's been a while since my last one because my computer just can't handle the editing capabilities right now. I need a new one, like really bad. But I used to always just do things on my own, and I got I don't know if it's quite commissioned if you didn't get paid for something, but I kind of did get paid in the fact that so I made a film with a guy who basically, he said he will pay for all of the production, and I was living in Europe at the time, and I came back to the Bay Area, and he gave me a free place to live for like,
oh wow,
it was like 3 or 4 months while we made this project.
I would count that as payment.
And so yeah, to me, like that's being paid because he paid my rent.
Yeah, essentially he paid for
same,
what you would normally be paying for.
Yeah. And so I did this short film, and at the end of it, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like I didn't know what I was doing, and it might not be the best thing. I didn't direct it and write it or anything. He's a writer, and he ended up doing all the direction. And I was doing all the cinematography and editing and all of that. But in the end, like, even though it wasn't like my project, or I wasn't maybe 100% happy with it as a project that's like, you know, this is mine and everything about it is great, like how you would be with like if you were to do your own graphic novel and just be like have total control, but not knowing, you know, the use of the tools or whatever. You know, just draw like don't worry about how it looks or what it is, as long as you've made it. And when I was finished with it, like I was really proud of it, because it was like, I made this, like I actually made not full. I mean, it was a 15-minute short, and like I made a real legitimate short film, and it was like, wow, I did that. And
so awesome.
it was totally worth it. It has since gone nowhere, but
sometimes it doesn't need to, though.
No, and it doesn't. It really doesn't. And I'm actually kind of glad that it wasn't one of those things that I necessarily had to pursue and follow, because it was a great learning tool, and it gave me the confidence that I can actually make something, and make something professionally. And I don't know, I did it. It was just the two of us. We didn't have a production company. We didn't have any big crazy budget. Like we had no budget. And I didn't have a crew. My crew was me. I did all the cinematography, all the lighting, all of the everything. So imagine like a full film crew to make a film, and you take all those responsibilities and you just give them to one guy.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what it was. But for some reason, so I have some filmmaker friends in Europe, which I haven't worked with, but would like to work with. And I would imagine they would like to work with me because they've mentioned it.
You hope so.
But one of them, when I showed him the film, he was like, "Oh, this is really cool. This is really great. Like, what was your production like?" Because he's a legitimate, like, I mean, he's not like legit, like, you know, oh, super famous person, whatever.
But it's like he actually does it. Like
he does it for a living. Like
yeah.
his job, which he gets paid for, he's a cinematographer, and he makes films. Like he does real, legit films, and commercials and all sorts of stuff. But he was just like, you know, so like, what was the budget? He started asking all like the real, regular, like production questions and stuff. And it was like, it was just me. I had no help. It was just me. Everything. He's like, everything? Like sound and lighting and everything? I was like, yeah, it was just me. He was like, wow. That's really impressive. He's like, I don't know anyone who's just kind of made a film all on their own. We always have a community. Like there's a production community. Like you make things together. Like no one makes things by themselves. This is impressive. So that was kind of a nice little confidence booster as well.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So I kind of forget where I was coming from with that story.
Well, we were just talking about like doing stuff, not like trying to figure stuff out, like just going and doing it.
Go for it. If you want to make a comic book, which I do, I actually want to make a graphic novel, not really a comic book. I want to do like a full story, you know, a proper thick book, as opposed to like a, you know, like a 20-page comic,
40-page, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually found that because my one obviously is a proper book. It's 200 pages each.
Yeah.
But what I did was I did like a 40-page one first. That was like the first chapter, and then I brought that to MCM. I did that when I was like, I think I was 17, and I brought that to MCM as my first table, and had it at the store and basically gauged people's reactions. And then once people had bought it, I'd then ask them, like online, or if they were friends, I'd ask them personally, what were the particular things you really liked about it? Or what was your favorite thing about the world of the Chronicles of Geisera? And then that meant that I could say, so the people who are interested in this type of book are interested in this kind of scene as well. And then I wouldn't change the story, but I'd change the focus. And then that meant that I knew that the people who already liked it could then still continue to enjoy it. And then when I made the full 200 one and redrew the pages and put it into it, I could then say, there we go. And then all the people who bought the first one, like the original one, they're all the people who comment on my Facebook every day and show up and watch my streams and stuff, like years later, because you just give them that little bit of time.
So here's a question for you. I've read both of your books, and there's definitely, like, I mean, there's a linear progression between, you know, what's happening in the story, like a story should have. But then I also noticed, because of the timing in which these books are made, and then also with your new book that's coming out, you as an artist have progressed over time.
Yeah.
How like, how do you find that particularly to be like an issue, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing? I'm not sure for you, but it's like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
So you did the first drawings when you were 17 or 18 years old.
Yeah.
And then the second one's probably you're like 19, 20. And then these
I'm
new
22
ones,
now.
22.
So there is like an age gap between like 17 to 22. And that was just physically drawing this version of it. I actually drew 3 versions of the book before I went and made the proper one.
And so
I was 13.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I was actually warned about this. I walked into a bookstore. We have a thing here called Waterstones, and that's like our the chain of bookstores.
Yeah.
And there was I knew that there was an artist there who sells at MCM, so I went there to talk to him to get his point of view from both as an artist himself and someone who makes his own books, and also as someone who works in the industry where you actually retail sell it. And he gave me a whole bunch of really important advice about changing the cover, making sure that it was like aimed at the correct audiences, showing it in all the correct places. But then the biggest thing he said was, you're only 17 now. By the time you come around to finishing the last book, your artwork's going to look completely different. You might as well wait and do it at a different time. And I thought about that. And I decided I don't want to wait, because the whole point I'm doing it is because I want to be doing my career now, if that makes sense. Like I was like, the concept was, why is it that we always ask people, what do you want to be when you grow up? That was the concept. So I was like, I want to do it now to prove that that's possible. I mean, obviously that's not possible if you were like a doctor or something, obviously, but like it was something where I had control over it, and I thought, I want to do this right now. Yeah. So the idea is, and I think I like the way that this has worked so far.
So far, I like it as well. I like the fact that the story is evolving, the drawing is evolving, and it as a viewer, a reader, you're not only just reading a story that that has a progression from book 1, book 2, book 3, as if like, you know, you were a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old making these books. You're watching a progression from book 1, 2, and 3 that is actually molding the writer and the artist all together. So it's starting from like a seedling, and you're kind of watching it grow. Yeah. As opposed to most books, they just go through the linear structure and then that's it.
I like that. That's interesting. Yeah. So I made myself a rule. That was it. I made myself a rule, and it was that the fundamentals could always improve. So I could always let myself work on perspective or using new angles and stuff like that. I could always think about how I could physically make it better. So if it was like something like a video game, you'd improve the mechanics, for example. So on top of that, I then decided it's going to have its own distinct style. And whatever I did, however much I improved, it would be limited by what the distinct style of the books was. So like what I'm drawing here is completely different to what I draw in the book. Like,
which is another thing I noticed, because after I had read your books, Mike was saying like, oh, you know, Sarah did this drawing. And I was like, you know, I'm curious, wonder what a lot of her drawings look like, because your RedditGetsDrawn drawings are much different than what is in the Geyser books.
Yeah.
And so I looked at your other drawings and I was like, wow, like she's progressed drastically from from the first book. Like, this is ridiculous. I'm kind of curious if intentionally, when you make the Geyser books, you'll make them progressively better as far as the drawings, because you are growing as an artist. And like, kind of getting back to what I said is earlier, where you can't mimic a childlike drawing. You can't kind of reverse your learning techniques. You can't kind of go back to what you were before as easily as you can just progressing.
Yeah.
So I was kind of curious on how that would work, but I liked how from book 1 to book 2, they were progressing in story and progressing in composition and actual technique of drawings. And I was curious on how the third would go. And then seeing where your drawings were now and knowing that they're so much different, but I had a feeling that even though you draw much better now than you did when you were 17, that you kind of had already thought this out, and that you were going to make the drawings progressively better again, the story probably progressively more detailed and in-depth again.
Well, actually, the story itself is pre-written.
Yeah.
So I wrote the story when I was about 15. I started it when I was 13, and I wrote the full story when I was 15. And then I've just been fleshing it out, really. So the story has a set progression. It was always going to evolve in the way it was, because that's how I'd written it. But the art itself, that's definitely had, like, you can see it. You can look between book 1 and book 2 and see the change. Like, it's instant.
And I think, like, had you gone from book 2 to book 3, or if you go from book 2 to book 3, and your progression is kind of where you're at right now, where everything is like in full color and like really detailed and stuff, it won't make as much sense.
It has to stay within.
So it has to stay within that. Yeah, it has to stay within the restraints of the previous 2 books. But at the same time, like, you can't go backwards, you know.
I mean, I'm always looking to challenge myself. That's really where the improvement comes from. Like, I just enjoy challenges, because otherwise it gets boring. It's like I want to, like, the podcast, I hadn't done like painterly stuff until maybe like a month before we started the podcast. So it wasn't even something that I felt confident in. I just wanted to try it out. I wanted to have some fun. So it's just like trying to push yourself all the time, really.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the best approach is challenge yourself, because if you don't challenge yourself, you're not going to progress at all.
Indeed.
So I was just kind of curious about, what your takes were on the progression of your book, because I think it's a very important thing that not just for you to know, but for other people to know as well. Because if you're taking on an assignment, I mean, there's plenty of artists, like as a lot of artists do, you want to work in a series. So like, if you start with a series and the series is going to be like 60 paintings, and they're all going to be, figure paintings or portrait paintings, but yet you start out with a certain skill level, and by the time you finish 60 paintings, you're going to be so much better. It doesn't matter how good you are when you started. They're just going to be better because you've been doing 60 of them.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to think about that as far as like how to either edit in advance or how to edit in the end on what you can what you as an artist should choose to add or take away to the pieces to make them consistent. Otherwise, they're no longer a series. They're grouping. It's a grouping of a progression of your work.
Yeah. I think it definitely helps to give yourself a constraint. Like to say, like, for example, the Chronicles of Geyser, I always said these characters can only ever look certain ways, and made character sheets for them. So I can never deviate away from what that is. And they always have to have the pointiness, and the hatching always has to be scratchy. Like those were the rules set by it. And I think I got the idea from hearing a story about Matt Groening. Is that how you say his name? Of The Simpsons.
Oh, I've got stories about him too. He's awesome.
And the story was that he basically wrote down like the ears must always have a 3 in them and stuff like that. Like it was always an M and a G. And like there were set rules, and the mouths can only open a certain amount. It was like, well, if you set those rules, then your quality of production can keep improving, but there's still a consistency. Like you can still tell they're the same characters and it's the same artist. So I think
The Simpsons has done that. I mean, it's spanned almost 30 years now, and the characters have definitely evolved. If you look at any generation, any season of The Simpsons to the current generation, like, they look different. They don't look exactly the same, but they still look the same.
Yeah, like you
They
can
still
see
feel
that it's
them.
them.
Yeah. And I think that's a very important thing. So I'm actually really glad. I mean, you seem to have things, you think things out quite a bit. That's nice.
I'm a planner. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think planning's always been the thing that I like to do, and that's been bad in some cases because it's delayed me for doing certain things, and sometimes I don't get as stuck into the piece of work, and it doesn't have as much energy as maybe it would have had if I'd just done it. But I think planning's really good to an extent, because it makes sure that things don't go wrong. Like I have a thing, like I'm terrified of like traveling, and it's not the traveling itself or anything, it's just I don't like being late. Like I freak out if it's like, if I don't know where I am or where I'm supposed to be going. I need to like map out the exact direction I'm going. It's like I have to know those things just so that I know I'm going to do it right when it happens, if that makes sense.
No, I'm very much the same way. Be thankful you don't work with Mike and I, because our employment is very much a fly by the seat of your pants kind of job.
I could not cope.
And they actually even have a saying, because we do so many things just kind of like, instead of planning it out, we just do it and then do it over and then do it again and do it again, because you didn't plan out the first time how to do it properly. So you have to like redo it. And there's a saying, and it's called, or it goes, redundancy keeps us employed, Tim.
What?
And it's geared towards Tim. Whereas like, I like to plan things out. I like to, hey, let's do this, and let's do this right the first time. Let's plan it out and let's get this thing done.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, let's just do it and then do it wrong and then have to do it again because, hey, that means we can go to work tomorrow because there's still work to do because we didn't do it right the first time because we didn't plan. It's like, really?
No, that's awful.
Yeah, I hate it.
I could not cope with that.
It takes a lot out of me. Like, I don't know. I'm not made for that world.
No.
But yeah, Matt Groening. Getting back to Matt Groening, he is awesome. He's a really nice guy. Super sweet.
You met him?
I've met him. So Matt Groening, I was a big Simpsons fan. I still am, actually. I haven't watched very much of the new Simpsons. But when The Simpsons came out, I was really young, and I watched it religiously every week, and I never missed an episode for probably 15 years.
Whoa.
Like, I had no friends, so.
It's all right. I made a book. I had no friends either.
Yeah. So Simpsons was part of my life. It was a cartoon. It was, I was really little and it was edgy and it was cool and I wanted to say all the fun sayings that Bart Simpson did and whatever. So when I was probably like 14 or 15 and I went to Comic-Con and I was so excited because my sister had gone the year before me and she had told me that they have a Simpsons booth and Matt Groening is usually there. And so I went for my first Comic-Con, and my first Comic-Con, all I really wanted was to meet Matt Groening. I didn't care about anything else. I was like, I want to meet Matt Groening, and I want to show him my drawings. And I get there, and Matt Groening is there, and I meet him. He's super nice, and I ask him if I can show him some of my drawings, and he's like, yeah, sure. And I show him these drawings of like Bart Simpson and Mr. Burns and all sorts of stuff. And he's like, do you mind if I write in your little book here? And I was like, yeah, that'd be awesome, thanks. And then he just wrote your drawings are really good. Keep up the work, and maybe one day I'll have a job for you.
Oh, wow.
And like when you're a kid and someone like your idol says something like that, that means the world.
That's everything. Yeah.
That's absolutely ridiculous. Like, and what makes it even better was I would go every year, and every year I would go to his booth, and it got to a point that I would go every year that he actually recognized me. I mean, you know, Comic-Con, you deal with thousands of people every single day. Like, how do you remember everyone? You really can't. But he made, like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I was there every year. Maybe he recognized me from whatever. I don't know. But like, just the fact that he was like, oh yeah, you were here last year. You showed me your drawings. Like, that's so great. And then kind of like one of the really good stories of Matt Groening was, this is quite a few years later. I've met him numerous times at this point. And like, I don't know, it was, those were all at Comic-Con, and I had moved to San Francisco, so I hadn't gone to Comic-Con for about 2 years. And I'm at the Alternative Press Expo, and there was this girl that I knew. She used to be a neighbor of mine, and she's a comic book artist. She actually does, her name's Julia Wirtz, and she does this comic. She used to do a comic called Fart Party. And now she's kind of moved on, and she has a couple other books. I'm totally spacing on the names of them right now. But they're really good. Her stories are great. It's all kind of about her life and things she deals with, and they're fantastic. But she was at Alternative Press, and she was, you know, like trying to sell her books and all this kind of stuff. And I was at her booth talking to her, and right next, like just walks right up next to me is Matt Groening, and it's like, hey, like, I fancy seeing you here. And I was like, yeah, I moved up here from San Diego like 2 years ago. And he's like, oh, how's it going? How's the convention and all that kind of stuff? And then I was like, oh, things are going good. And then he starts reading Julia's books, and he was just like, these books are really great. Like, these are really amazing. She's like, oh, gee, thanks. And he's like, I'll take one of each of them. And he just buys like one of all of her books.
Oh, nice.
And then he, you know, he's like, oh, you know, she's like, oh, you know, it's nice to meet you. You know, thanks for supporting me, all that kind of stuff. And he's like, all right, cool. Yeah, thanks. You know, maybe I'll see you around next year. And so he walks away, and I was like, do you realize what just happened? She's like, I know, that guy bought all my books. That's so amazing. That's so cool. Like, he must really like it. I'm like, yeah, he must really like it, which is awesome and great. But it's not just that some random guy likes your stories and likes your books and bought one of each. It's like, do you know who that was? And she's like, what? Who was that? Who was that? I was like, that was Matt Groening. And she's like, the Matt Groening? The Simpsons Matt Groening? And I was like, yes, that was Matt Groening. And she's like, oh my God, I didn't know. I should have said something to him. Oh my gosh, I feel so ridiculous now. And it was amazing. Just kind of like, I don't know, like he's a really nice guy. And he just like cheers people up and like makes their day. Even if you don't know who he is, like, yeah, he doesn't care. He's just a guy. And he's a really nice, sweet guy, and he's down to earth. I don't know. I got nothing but good things to say about people from Comic-Con. Hence the reason Mike needs to go. Mike, if you're listening, go to Comic-Con one of these days.
I thought you could say Mike needs to go. You're replacing him. We're gonna have some positivity on the podcast.
Mike, you're out of here. This is me now. This is all me. Funisher, yeah. You're gone. Removed.
You're done.
I don't know if I could do this every week. It's so hot in here.
How's your picture going?
It's going all right. I'm actually, I don't know if let's see, bring it down into.
Let me hit a button so it stays on your screen.
Too many different variables of Like there's a podcast that's like a 30-second delay.
I really
There's
like it.
the one that I'm looking at.
I really like the smile. I think you got the smile perfect.
Thanks. To me, it feels like it's a little off. Her mouth is a little more tilted. Her head should be more tilted. That's kind of more straight on with mine, but I don't know. I think it's pretty good. How do you feel about yours?
I'm good. I think I'm about to be done, actually.
Oh, wow, you've already signed it already. I like the sparkles in her eyes and her face. All those highlights are really nice.
Oh, thank you. I like doing shinies. It's my favorite part. I'm just like, I know this isn't in the real picture, but here, have some shinies.
Shiny things are good.
But I think I'm about ready to wrap up, if you are.
Yeah, sure. We can do that.
We didn't get any artwork. What's everyone doing?
Yeah, I imagine people, I don't know, they really like Mike.
Well, the thing was, last week, didn't he get downvoted?
Did he?
Yeah. He got downvoted for the podcast. No one knew why. I don't know. Like, he's got haters or something, but apparently they don't show up if he's not here. So.
Yeah, that's weird. Like, all the usuals. I mean, yeah, we still have Subliminal Cucumbers here, and Allison's here.
My brother's here. Great.
Your brother's here. And Demon Man, he's around.
He was.
He's not as talkative as he usually is.
No, he was here. But
well,
it's
not so frightening to have the mystery artist guy finally show up, and no one shows up to so
we'll
yeah,
just pretend. We'll just
works out.
Never did it. It's like it's fine.
What do you mean? There was that one random weird episode where they actually finally showed who he was. It's like,
Although
that never happened.
We only see your hands though.
Yeah, I've got nice hands though, man.
Artist hands. What pencils do you use out of curiosity?
Nothing special really. I don't even know what these are. These ones are Tombows mono pencils.
Oh, okay. Did you import them from Japan?
No, I just bought them at the art store here.
You lucky butt.
Yeah, this is a Sanford turquoise. This one's a Faber-Castell, and then a nice little extension.
Oh, dude, that's amazing. That's actually the best thing I've seen all day.
These extensions?
Extension, yeah.
Yeah, so apparently I really like using the same pencils until they become this small.
Yeah.
and so sometimes I have to fill the extension with paper and use it, and it's this one right here. It's an HB that I've whittled down to nothing, and I can't use it anymore because I can't hold it. There's no way to. But the line quality was so much better out of this one, and pencil stock at the art stores constantly changes. So unless you buy 100 of the same pencil at the same time, they've changed things, the hardness a little bit. There's some sort of variations in all the different pencil companies or whatever they decide to use at any given time. And sometimes you just find one that fits you, and that one was one of them. These ones I feel are slightly too soft, even though they're supposed to be hard, and then the softer versions of them aren't soft enough. I don't know. It's a really weird thing. So I don't know. I kind of struggle with all of that. But then I'm also supposed to mention, what is it? Pentel? Pentel, if you're listening.
Oh, yeah, Pentel. Hey.
Yeah. Although I'm a big fan of Pilot pens.
Oh, okay.
So I don't have one in front of me right now. I know Mike has this amazing hardcore marker, which is how he fills his blacks big spaces. But Pilot makes these, they're actually for calligraphy and handwriting. They're called parallel pens. And essentially, they're in another room But essentially, it's like a flat pen. So imagine like a piece of paper, and it's just kind of folded in two. So you have two metal sheets.
Yes, I know what you mean.
And then the ink just flows through it.
Yeah.
And the greatest thing about them is like, yeah, you can write really beautifully if you are into calligraphy and that kind of thing, or you can draw with them and get really good lines. And if you're filling in a lot of black area in ink, it just like it's a big fat tip for the I mean, they come in various sizes, but the wide one is, I think it's a 6 millimeter, and it's big, it's nice. And it fills in areas so quickly, and also it's really good line quality. I really love them. I think they're great. So also Pilot, if you're listening, I love Pilot parallel pens. I think they're amazing.
We'll just shill every company.
Yeah.
See which one buys.
Yeah. And also, I wouldn't mind getting a Cintiq and learning how to do digital work.
Look, we'll never get handed Cintiqs after my stuff with the Cintiq.
Well, if we ask nicely, you know, I'm sure they'll change their mind.
Demand Man said, "Give me a minute." I don't know if that means that they're finishing up or if they're just starting, and he's gonna just show it to us like the one he just does now.
Yeah, he probably started about 3 minutes ago.
Just like, whoosh, there you go.
It's like, he's like, oh yeah, all I need is a minute to make this drawing.
Just like, there you go, done, instant. I think I didn't do the eyes quite right. It's bugging me. I think I did the one further away from us bigger.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And I need to like swap the ratios. It's like,
Yeah. Well, also working digital, you can kind of squish that down a little.
I might. Should we try the liquefy tool? Should we try it? I've never used it.
You could always do a Control-Z if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, let's do a save first. Save as.
Oh yeah. I always forget that part.
Portrait RGD. Let's try the liquefy tool. So filter. Do you know where it is?
No. Let's see. It's definitely in the filter section. Would it be under distort? Nope. Yeah, I don't work in Photoshop as far as drawing.
Let's do some Googling. I'm going to Google it while we wait for Demand Man to possibly show us some artwork. Liquefy tool Photoshop. A comprehensive guide to Photoshop's liquefy tool. I just want to know where it is.
That was a very nice, fancy,
voice,
posh accent you had there. Is that considered posh? Or is that just like fancy people?
That was just my fancy voice. I don't know that posh is a thing anymore. It's more like you have to talk like this, where you enunciate very clearly and you use very round facial expressions whilst you talk.
The round O.
Round O. Only speak Queen's English.
Yes, Queen's English. The proper way to speak English is the Queen's way.
I don't even know what accent I'm doing. Oh well. It's telling me like all the amazing things that it can do, but it won't tell me where it is. Oh. Meh.
That sounded like a platypus.
Meh. Filter liquefy. We looked straight past it. Oh look, it's there. Okay, layer, rasterize, smart object. Okay, filter liquefy. It was right there. We're idiots.
It wasn't in a subcategory. It was just a category of its own.
It's just a thing. Oh my god, look.
That's perfect. Looks great. Looks like Ziggy Stardust.
What? How do you even do this? I'm trying to do this. Oh, can't get it to upload. Oh,
What? Come on, Demon Man.
come
You can
on,
do this.
man.
I believe in you.
What is this? Let's make the brush size way bigger. Okay. Wee.
So I just want to say I apologize to any of the chat who actually did show up today, because it's really difficult to pay attention and talk and draw and read all at the same time. So just so you guys know that when Sarah and Mike do this every week, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. Yeah.
Do you like it? Did I do a good job?
Oh, I think that's great. It looks like what is? They just made a movie of that.
Oh,
woman.
the Big Eyes movie.
Yeah, Big Eyes movie. They look like cat eyes.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just clicking buttons. It's kind of working though.
No, it totally is. It's amazing.
I've never done this before in my life. What am I doing?
You should submit both of them. The saved version before and then this one.
I might get bloody, like, I'll get ban hammered because it's like not close enough to likeness or something.
Oh, jeez.
Like it.
I think it's adorable. She's starting to look like a cat now. You should put whiskers on her and some ears.
I'm gonna do whiskers.
Oh, thank you, Subliminal Cucumber. I'm glad I did all right, and I'm not really putting myself down as much as just saying it's not an easy feat.
Yeah, it's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah, I mean it's all good fun, but oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I apologize. I apologize in there for that. Right. Don't save. That's better. There we go. One day I will learn how to use that tool properly, and it'll be like the best thing in my arsenal. But until
I
that
thought
day,
it was great. Oh, I really like the background. I haven't seen it like all the way like this. See, it's just been a close up. The background's really nice too.
oh, thank you. I decided that I couldn't be bothered with the rest of it, so I
Yeah.
just zoomed it into like the cut. I think if I had longer time and I could have a break and walk away and then come back, I would do the full thing and then keep it as that like square on one side and over on the other. But then I just got to a point where I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, I like the square on one side and oval on the other. I stole this line box thing from Mike. It's something he was doing, or he's been doing forever. And when I started doing the RedditGetsDrawn drawings, it contained them as opposed to them just kind of floating randomly on the paper. Because in the photos, I mean,
There's little cut-off bits, aren't there?
Yeah, like sometimes like a person's missing a head or like half their arm is chopped off. So you don't get the same real proportions that you would if you were to do a drawing yourself.
Yeah.
So by putting it in a frame, whether it's the frame that's in the photo or you creating your own, it contains it in a really nice way. And so I was just like, hey, I'm going to steal that from you. He's like, yeah, I don't care. So
I always thought of it as a you thing. Like every time I saw your pictures, I was like, "Oh, he's got the nice little frame there." It reminds me of comic book panels, actually.
Yeah. No, it's something I took from Mike when it comes to these kinds of drawings, with the Reddit drawings especially. I used to almost never frame drawings unless it was specifically for comic books, and then you just put them in their boxes or not boxes or whatever you want to use.
All right then, we finish. I think we can finish there. We finish with an actual art topic, which is better than most weeks.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to. What was I supposed to talk about? I was supposed to say something inappropriate while your mom was listening. I was supposed to talk about burritos and how I'm an expert because of where I come from.
Yeah.
All sorts of crazy stuff that I just totally forgot about.
No, this was much better. Do you have anything coming up in the week or anywhere where people can see your artwork? I know you're very mysterious and you contain it all to yourself.
So that's the hard part is I used to do a lot of that. I used to have shows. I used to go out and try to be an artist in the world. And I will in the future, I'm sure. But I don't have anything right now. I haven't been working on anything. I've just been trying to get myself in the proper headspace to approach things and work on them, not for other people, but for myself.
Yeah.
And so that really kind of means not having art shows and not exhibiting or showing it until I am at a place where I feel comfortable with it and that I, as an artist, am strong enough that I don't feel like I'm influenced by other forms of input, whether people like it or not, or whether it sells or not.
Yeah.
I just want to make what I make for a while, based upon whether I like doing it or not.
Yeah, you can focus on your connection with the artwork. I think that's really cool.
And it's something that I feel like I've lost over time, and I really need to get it back because, I mean, we make things. We're artists.
Yeah.
Without that, like, you know, what do we have, you know? So I really want to get that back. And so I don't have anything coming up. I don't have any places where people can see my work. That's not entirely true. I have a website that's broken, so I'm not even going to mention to it. And then I do have videos on a Vimeo page, which I think Mike has linked before in a previous podcast a long time ago. But if you want to look those up, you can. I don't necessarily need to pitch anybody in any direction. But yeah, that's pretty much it. How about you? Do you have any, aside from your big projects, anything?
At the moment, I'm probably going to have to close commissions. I had them open for MCM, but I've had a few that are like big projects that I didn't expect to come through. So I did want to do this like cool little like pay what you want commission thing, but just looking at the hours that I have in the day, it doesn't look like it's possible for a little while yet. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to hold off on that. We might be starting gaming this week. I had planned on starting it a few weeks back, but obviously I got sick, and the last thing anyone wants to hear is me like coughing all over the microphone. But I believe Matt has set up the Minecraft server, so that might go. The first episode of that might go live this week. We'll see. I'll post on my Facebook and stuff. You can find everything from the from Geisel.com.
Is it going to be on like a Twitch broadcast? I
think we will be Twitching the stream of it, but it will definitely be on the YouTube. It just depends on like, because there's going to be 3 of us doing it, so we haven't all gotten together to test all the tech yet. So whatever it's capable of doing, we'll be doing, but it will definitely be on the both our respective YouTube channels, which is me as a Gamer Draws, which you're already on, and Matt's is Cuppa Matt, I believe. Demon Man's just posted his work in progress, so I'm just gonna show that if I can find the right thing. That should be showing it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's cool, isn't it? Yeah. It's really expressive. I always pick out the most random things I like. I really like the little twirl of hair at the bottom right for us, like her bottom left. So many colors in the hair. That's really cool. Thank you for doing a work in progress, because I was like, no one's done any artwork, and then my mum was like, I'm to the rescue.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Demon Man. It looks great.
I'll jump back. I like the little, when you're on Google Hangouts, I like the little thing that's like whilst you're like moving cameras.
Oh yeah, that little green icon.
Yeah, it's cute. Demand Man says, I've enjoyed the evening. Good to hear. And I hope everyone else has enjoyed too. So I think that's it. If there's anything else you want to mention, I'd love to have you on the show again sometime. Maybe we can get all three of us on the show. That'd be great fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here every week. Just maybe I'll take a different approach in the future as well. I don't know. I had a lot of fun tonight. This is actually, I mean, it's a different way of approaching the podcast. I mean, I'm usually a lurker, and I draw in the other room, and I pass the drawing under the door, and sometimes Mike gets it. Sometimes it goes clear across the hardwood floor under his bed, and he doesn't see it.
Oh no!
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I can, maybe I'll come back and be a little more vocal.
Oh no, it was perfect. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining, and thank you everyone in chat for joining in. Even though only one person did any art, I'm disappointed. If anyone does any artwork on this between now and next podcast, let us know, and I'll put it in the show next week. So just let me know. Send me a message on Reddit or anything. I don't mind. But yeah, Subliminal Cucumber says Tim needs to be a vocal regular, so that's good to hear.
Yeah, thank you. I'll see what I can do.
Thanks for joining, and we'll see you same time next week. Bye.
Right. Bye, everyone.